and welcome to Wrestling Days Live. We are live for AEW and NXT. It is, of course, Wednesday. There's quite a bit of stuff to go through. There's been some new figure images that have come through for us to take a look at. So we've got figure images, we've got loads of matches to talk about. As well as that, of course, it is the Royal Rumble this weekend. So we're not going to talk too much about the Royal Rumble. I don't want this to be an hour of talking about the Rumble. But there is some interesting news on that front. WrestleVotes have come out with a very interesting tweet for those that might not have seen that in the past 20-odd hours. WrestleVotes send in a very interesting tweet, which we're going to talk about. And not much in the way of news. I suppose, as we said, the big news is the AEW figures and UFC figures. There's brand new UFC figures. And one of them, I don't know who it is. I think it might be Chimaev, but we'll have a look and we'll see if we can figure it out. I understand as well, Joaquin says F. Goldberg. Yes. Shout out to you, Joaquin. Hope you are well, bud. I understand as well that there is an AEW Awards show that's on right now. I believe it's on Bleacher Report. And to be perfectly honest, I don't have that set up because I thought you had to pay for it. I thought you had to pay for the Bleacher Report thing. So I didn't bother setting it up. Instead, I've gone to MLW. So I've got that set up in the background. If this thing was on YouTube, this awards thing, then I'd probably give it a watch. But MLW has been very good to us. So I thought we would
is a
check
legend.
that out.
They donated $1.99 via a super chat. F. Goldberg.
Fair point. Fair point. Talking of MLW, that has just begun. And this week, we've got Savio Vega in a Caribbean strap match. So Savio Vega, that's a blast from the past. He would have been a really fun name to have had in the Rumble, actually, for those of us that were watching in like the mid to late 90s. Savio Vega. So, yeah, I didn't even know he was still wrestling. But he is going to be competing on the show tonight in a Caribbean strap match. Of course, he had a very famous strap match with Stone Cold Steve Austin at In Your House. So I am kind of interested in keeping an eye on that. But AEW-wise, there is an awards thing going on. But I'm sure people in the chat will keep us up to speed with what's happening over there. A big shout out to everyone that is in the chat. David Robert Wood says NXT is doing better storylines than AEW. AEW needs something new. Well, I mean, there's a weird thing happening tonight whereby Cody is going to be responding to Shaq. Now, I find this very strange because the whole Shaq thing didn't really seem to get going. Like, Jade Cargill came out and said that she had a monster and his name was Shaq and all of this. And then we saw Shaq face-to-face with Brandy, and he just really seemed like he didn't care. He was just kind of like sitting there, very relaxed. Brandy was the one that was getting worked up, and she ended up throwing the drink over Shaq. Now, Shaq may have said a few things after that. I honestly don't know. But kind of feels a bit strange that we're now kind of revisiting this. So he's going to respond to Shaq. I'm guessing this is going to lead to Cody versus Shaq at Revolution. Revolution is the next pay-per-view, and it's at the beginning of March. So we've got plenty of time. But, yeah, I've got to say it feels a bit strange. But no denying that there will be some buzz around that. That is something that's going to capture people's attention. And, you know, that's obviously what AEW are looking to do at the moment. You know, they're getting wrestling fans' attention by what they're doing with Impact. They're getting mainstream attention by what they're doing with Shaq. Obviously, Sting coming in as well has generated a lot of buzz. So there's quite a few things that they're doing at the moment. I have no desire to see Shaq in a wrestling match. No desire whatsoever. I think there's lots of ways you can use him. I think he could represent someone. He could advocate for someone. But I've got no desire to see him step into the ring. The only thing I'd say about him is he is huge. He is, I mean, like in every sense. I mean, he's a massive athlete. So, could his size give him an advantage over someone like Cody? I mean, I wouldn't think so. It's not something that I want to see, but I can understand why they're doing it. He is a massive, massive name. I mean, he is known around the world. Everyone knows who Shaq is. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how that one goes. Talking about tonight, we might as well just break down the cards so that we're all on the same page. I think this is everything. There's loads. On AEW, we've got Jungle Boy taking on Dax Harwood. And I believe that Cash and Tully are going to be handcuffed to Luchasaurus. So that's the stipulation for that match. Chris Jericho and MJF taking on the Varsity Blondes. We got the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers teaming up together, which could be quite interesting. I don't believe they're on the same page. But, yeah, they're teaming up, taking on the Dark Order. We got Eddie Kingston taking on Lance Archer. Cody responds to Shaq. Hangman Page taking on Ryan Nemeth, who is, I believe, Dolph Ziggler's brother. So that could be interesting. Dr. Britt Baker taking on Shanna as well. So quite a bit announced for AEW, but I'll admit there's not really anything there outside of maybe the Cody thing that I feel is like essential. But I don't know. I mean, like, it seems like a solid show. It doesn't seem like there's anything there that I'm dreading or anything. Cody, Shaq, I mean, let's see how that goes. I can tell you right now, we've got the Laredo Kid. The Laredo Kid in action on MLW. Zenshi taking on the Laredo Kid, which is really, really cool. Laredo Kid obviously competed in AEW, competed in AAA. Now he's on MLW. You can watch that for free on their YouTube channel. And that's really cool, man. That's really cool. I didn't know he was on this show. So, okay, we've got that. Over on NXT, we have got MSK. Love those guys. I've only seen them compete once, but I was very impressed with what I saw. MSK taking on Killian, Dain, and Drake Maverick. We got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Aliyah and Jessi. We've got Leon Ruff and Kushida taking on Grizzled Young Veterans. And we've got Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor taking on Lorcan and Burch. So, we're just progressing really with the Dusty Rhodes stuff. I do have the brackets to show you. So we've got updated brackets. I've got the figure images.
Hayden Garrett is a legend. They donated $2 New Zealand via a super chat. Hey Days, how are you today, my friend?
That's really cool. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I hope you're well. I just saw as well Lauren saying that Mike Chandler got a personal video call from Ric Flair. That's cool. Obviously, Mike Chandler's post-fight interview was full of like Ric Flairisms, and it was kind of really cool to see. So that's nice. That's nice. He is a big up-and-comer in UFC. And actually, I suppose whilst we're on UFC, I could just quickly show you those UFC figures. It would make sense to do those ones first. So let's have just a quick look at these UFC figures. Okay, that's big. That's massive. I didn't expect it to be that size. Let me fit to screen. Boom. Right, that's now a disaster as well. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, cool. Right, there they are. So these are brand new UFC figures. This is from Jazzwares. This is the same people that make the AEW figures. So they did make some figures before, but they weren't like to scale. And as well as that, like there was quite a bit of criticism about them. And so they turned around and went, this is just a special series. This isn't the first series. This is just a special limited edition series. Like the real ones are coming soon. So I didn't get those first figures that came out last year because like clearly they weren't to standard. This is them. This is the proper first wave of the UFC figures. Now, to me, right, some of these look great. Some of these, not so much. On the left, we've got Masvidal. I think he looks awesome. I think that Masvidal figure looks really, really impressive. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So Masvidal on the left looks great. I think the face scan on that looks awesome. I mean, the body types look fine. Great articulation. Lots of articulation there. Not really a great deal to get excited about, but if that comes with his BMF belt, that would be essential. So really impressed with the Masvidal. Faber, legend, looks cool. I'm into that. So, yeah, nice to see that they're mixing in some legends with current fighters. So, yeah, it looks all right. It looks all right. Not as good as the Masvidal, but I think it looks cool. Next, we got Israel Adesanya, one of the biggest names in UFC at the moment. Face gun on that looks fine. Body looks fine. Lots of tattoo detail on there. Again, not quite the same level as the Masvidal, but I still think it looks cool. Amanda Nunes in the middle, man. I think...
Krista Zuba is a legend. They donated $2 via a super chat. Are you gonna stop you for Shaq like NXT for Pat?
Chris, I'll come back to that point in a second. So we've got Amanda Nunes in the middle, and yeah, I'm not feeling that. I mean, I don't know if it looks better if you see it from the side and all of that, but I'm not feeling that Amanda Nunes. Conor, not feeling it. I mean, I can sort of see that it's Conor McGregor. Certainly the tattoo work looks really good, but yeah, the face it. I mean, like, that to me looks like a dollar store knockoff of Conor McGregor, rather than like a really good Conor McGregor. So yeah, I'm not feeling that Conor. Like, it sort of looks like him, but then equally it could sort of look like someone else as well. So far, I think Masvidal's the best, then Adesanya, then Faber, then I don't know about Amanda Nunes and Conor. Next up, we got Ngannou. Ngannou, I think, looks really good. Francis Ngannou. He's going to be a big star. He's taking on Stipe Miocic for like the heavyweight championship soon. So he is, you know, someone to keep an eye on. And even though he might not be the most well-known name, I think he looks really good there. I think that is one of the stronger figures. This one, right? Far right. On the far right, I have not seen anyone tell me who that figure is. No one seems to know, right? When the guy that makes the figures sent this message out, he tagged in all of the fighters. He named them all, except for that one on the end. I don't think he knew who it was. And then in the chat, someone was saying, oh, it's a second Masvidal. No, it isn't. That's not Masvidal. Masvidal's on the left. That's not Masvidal. It looks nothing like Masvidal. So even people in the comments that I've seen don't seem to know who this is. Ringside Collectibles sent this image out and they didn't know who it was. I think it's Chimaev. I think it's Khamzat Chimaev. I will be appalled if that is meant to be Khabib. If that is meant to be Khabib, I will personally get on a plane to America and punch someone in the face at Jazzwares, right? Because that looks nothing like Khabib. But it could be Khamzat Chimaev, who is a great up-and-comer. And it's not a bad likeness if it's meant to be him. But, yeah, I saw someone saying that was the Chase version of Masvidal. I was like, jog on. No way. It looks nothing like him. Masvidal's on the left. Far left. I think that's Khamzat Chimaev. So, yeah, I don't know, man. There's a few that it could be. High Flyer thinks that it could be Khabib. But Spark says Pettis. Tilly says a young Masvidal. Maybe. I don't know. That would be a wild chase. Normally, when you get a chase, they just change the color of the attire. Like, to go for a completely different, like, version of him. I don't know. Like, a younger looking version. That would be pretty out there. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I my gut feeling was Chimaev. I think it looks like Chimaev. But yeah, I haven't seen, like, the official announcement yet. This is the only image that's kind of come out on it. So I'm still waiting to see, like, you know, who everyone named. But that's it anyway. That is the first series. Let's get rid of it now, actually. That is the first series of the UFC figures. I appreciate this isn't a UFC stream. But I wanted to show you those because that is something that I was looking forward to. That is something that I was quite hyped for a while. And then when those first ones came out, and then they turned out to not be the first ones, but they were the first ones, but they weren't quite right, and there was a lot of criticism. I was like, oh, this sucks. So then I've been waiting for them. So I think there's some good ones in there. I think there's some ones in there. And yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see like when we get the proper press release and everything on it. So we've had that come through. As well as that, I need to go back to Chris's comment as well before I show you the AEW figures. There's AEW figures to show you. So Chris's comment about would I stop watching AEW if they do the Shaq match like I did with NXT for the Pat match? The answer would be no. The reason being because I see them as quite different. The reason that we stopped NXT wasn't just because of Pat. Pat was definitely the cherry on top. Pat was definitely the final straw. But there was quite a few things leading up to it that you know, I was not in a great place with NXT when the Pat thing happened. Not a fan of how they dealt with the Velveteen Dream stuff. Not a fan of how they dealt with the Drake Maverick. Fired. We're going to rehire him. You know, if you cheer for him, if he wins this, we'll bring him back. I thought that was like tasteless and disrespectful to other people that were released at that time. And I think Lio Rush, who was released at that time, said similar as well. So there was a few things that kind of went into that NXT decision, not just Pat McCarthy. The other difference as well, and I do think this is quite important, is that Shaq is a much, much, much bigger star. Now, Pat McCarthy might be a big deal in America, but I'm telling you, around the world, not a clue. Honestly, he's not up there. He's not the same level as someone like Shaq. Shaq is someone that's a lot bigger, a lot more imposing, someone that I still don't want to see compete. Make no mistake about it. I'm not changing my opinion here. I still don't want to see him competing in a ring because I think that it's very important that wrestling is treated with respect. I mean, we've said this before. In no other sport would you have like someone step in and have them being really competitive against the top stars. Like you wouldn't bring Shaq into Wimbledon and have him doing really well at Wimbledon. You wouldn't bring Shaq into boxing and have him beating up all the heavyweights. But for some reason, wrestling just enjoys bringing celebrities in and making them look good against their top stars. And I've never liked that. I've never liked that. I've never understood why wrestling has done that. I understand that you might want Shaq for the appeal of, you know, the buzz, but there's so many ways to use Shaq. I mean, like WrestleMania 1, they had Muhammad Ali, but they didn't have him in the ring. They just had him as a timekeeper. And they could still advertise that Ali was there. You know, you could still advertise that Shaq is going to be at Revolution. You could have Shaq is bringing his protege to take on Cody. Do not miss Revolution. Shaq has got someone very, very special that he's going to be bringing to Revolution to take on Cody. I mean, that is going to generate like as much buzz. People are going to tune in because they're going to want to see what Shaq has got. Who is Shaq bringing? So I feel like that's a much better way to use celebrities. You still get to use them, but you don't need them in the ring. But for some reason, wrestling just loves putting people in the ring and making them look good. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had to watch Tyson Fury trying to wrestle against Braun Strowman. It was awful. It was awful. He didn't do a very good job. Like, that match was awful. I had no problem with Tyson Fury going into the ring as long as he was going to box, because that's what he's known for. He's a boxer. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like getting a world-class ballerina and then making them build a house. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're going to hire a ballerina, you get them doing some ballet, don't you? If you're going to hire a boxer, get him doing some boxing. But getting him to do wrestling, no. So, no, I wouldn't stop watching AEW for that reason. As I said, there was more behind it than just that. But, I mean, what I would say is that now that we've moved past that phase, I do appreciate the fact that he didn't go on to beat people. I think it's a shame that he looked competitive. I think it's a shame that they used him in such a high-profile program. I think it's a shame that that position wasn't given to someone like Austin Theory, where he could have really established him as a massive star. It didn't do anything for the ratings. It didn't move any numbers. I look back on it as a failure. I know a lot of people say that he did a good job and he's the best celebrity that they've ever used in ring, but it's a low bar. That's a low bar. Do you know what I mean? That's like being the nicest prisoner. It's a very low bar. So I don't know, man. It did not do it for me. It did not do it for me. I don't tune in for NXT to watch that kind of a thing. I want to see, I mean, like, just think if they had used that for Austin Theory as a leader of a group, Austin Theory being given that time to cut promos. I think that could have been really interesting. But as it is, I mean, they're never gonna get loads out of Pat McAfee because he's got too many other interests. He's got his show, and obviously, he does all the analysis on football and all of that kind of stuff. Like, you really want someone that's going to give their whole focus, their whole attention to wrestling. I see it. I think ultimately for me, it comes down to like a respect thing. I think wrestling deserves to be respected. And I will say that I do think that Pat McAfee does respect wrestling. I think that his intentions are good. I think that, he's probably passionate about wrestling, but I've never been a fan of celebrities coming in. I mean, think about like Snooki, when they use Snooki at WrestleMania, or I don't know. I mean, like, thankfully we haven't seen too many examples in recent years. But as ratings continue to decline for like WWE and they're starting to get more desperate for views, we might see more and more of those kinds of examples. I didn't mind, like, say, Floyd Mayweather. I think I didn't need him against Big Show. But I think, again, he's a boxer and they used his boxing. He went in and he was throwing his shots. He wasn't trying to do clotheslines and Samoa drops and, do you know what I mean, drop kicks and missile drop kicks and scorpion death drops and all this kind of stuff. He wasn't doing any of that. So, but he was using his boxing. He was using his striking. And I think that was a really good way to use Floyd Mayweather. But maybe not against Big Show. Maybe there was someone more his size that could have been a bit more believable. But yeah, I mean, look, this is a very big, very deep conversation. Maybe one for a different time. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about Shaq is that, as we said, he's got the height, he's got the size. Could he literally just pick up and throw Cody around? But I do have to ask the question: what does that do for Cody? I mean, like, to see Cody getting manhandled in that way, to see Cody getting thrown around in that way, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Do you know what I mean? I'd much rather see someone tying Shaq up in knots. Don't step into the ring. Don't think that just because you're a good basketball player doesn't mean you're a good wrestler. Ask Nate Robinson if being a basketball player makes you a good boxer, right? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at another. So for me, it's always come down to a respect kind of a thing. And yeah, to answer your question, I'm not thrilled about it. But I can understand why they're doing it because Shaq is such a big name. He's kind of in that rare group of like superstars, like athletes known around the world. I'd say he's up there with your Ronaldos and your Serena Williams and those kind of names. Do you know what I mean? Those sports stars that are just known around the world. It's not the biggest list, but I'd say he's definitely one. With like a LeBron James kind of a thing, LeBron James known around the world as well. Interesting stuff. Right, we do need to move on. Zycamy, shout out to you. We do need to move on because we've got these figure images to look at as well. So we've looked at the UFC ones. Let's start looking at the AEW ones. Here is... Right, that's big. That is the limited edition Matt Hardy figure. Okay, looks pretty cool. I don't know what match that is based on, to be honest. Kind of looks like some kind of a knight, doesn't he? It must be based off a match, and I'm sure people are going to tell me what match it is. Maybe it was his match with Sammy at the compound or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is his figure. I don't know if you can see, but what's just caught my attention there is just to the right of his head. To the left, you can see it says 1 of 500. Just to the right, it looks like there's a see-through head. Is that a see-through head? To the right of him. It certainly looks like there's something in the packaging there. It looks like a see-through transparent head. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. So that is the Matt Hardy limited edition one. We've got Cody limited edition. Nightmare Family. That's quite nice, isn't it? Some nice detail on the ring attire there, which looks really cool. Apparently, they are going to increase the numbers for the chase figures because there's been a lot of complaints that no one can find them. So I think they're going up to like 3,000 and 5,000. So they are upping the quantities on those. I think they've been really blown away by how popular and how successful these figures have been. So they are going to, obviously not for these ones, but for future ones, increase them. But yeah, that's a nice looking figure. Good face scan on that as well. And these are made by the same people that make those UFC ones. We've got another Matt Hardy here, which is wonderful. Again, look, just to the side. It's kind of see-through. I think actually what it is it might be like a reflection of the image in the packaging or something. Now that I'm looking at it, it looks like it's maybe more a reflection of some kind. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't think you get an invisible Matt Hardy head in there, unfortunately. But there you do get that, though. And swappable hands. And, I mean, it looks cool. I like the jacket on that. Again, good face scan on it as well. Impressive stuff. Daniel says, with the Matt Hardy figure, let's Vanguard projecting Matt's face, so it's a hologram of Matt. Oh, is that it's a hologram thing then, is it? Oh, okay. These are the only images I've seen. I know there are more images, but these were the only ones that I was able to grab before the stream started.
Wacky Niribi is a legend. They donated $1.99 via a super chat. I mean, Shaq can just watch a great Kali match.
Shaq can watch a great Kali match. Well, that's true. That's true. And then he can jump into the ring and just chop people all over the place. I mean, is that the level that we're realistically aiming for? I mean, Great Kali isn't looked back on with a great deal of fondness, is he? So, I don't know, man. I kind of hope for a bit more than that. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that you would get, to be perfectly honest, from a Shaq match, is chops, clothesline, a few strikes. I don't know that I'd be expecting, like, moonsaults and things along those lines, but you know, whatever. Ortiz, yes, this figure. How great is that? How great is that figure? Gotta give credit where it's due. I am quite happy to sit here and tell you that Connor figure doesn't look great or, you know, whatever. But I think this is one of the best looking figures I've seen in a long time. I am legit impressed with that. I think that is a brilliant figure. I think he is very toyetic, though, isn't he? He is the kind of person that you can make a great figure of. And they've nailed it. They've absolutely smashed it. So, yeah, we've got Ortiz. Obviously, where you've got an Ortiz, you've got a Santana. I think that looks good. Face scan looks good. I don't think it's quite as eye-catching without, like, the big hair that Ortiz has got. But still looks really, really smart. Love the straps being down as well. The ring attire looks really cool. I mean, it's easy to see when you look at these figures why so many people are excited about them. So Santana looks good. That's the normal Cody Throne Breaker, which is based on when he first destroyed the throne. I can't remember the show. Was it Double or Nothing, the first one? And obviously it was like shots fired at Triple H and everything. But so there we go. We've got the Throne Breaker. Great face scans on those. And the last one, this is good as well. Sammy. I kind of like the facial expression because he is a bit like wacky and out there, isn't he? So, yeah, I'm kind of into that. facial expression. And he's got his cards that he holds up when they go picture in picture. And he's got his jacket as well that looks really cool. I know a lot of people are hoping that they'll make a little golf cart for him, and I'm sure they will at some point. So yeah, I'm into them. I think that's a really, really good series. They do look really good, says David Robert Wood. Sapphire says Ortiz and Santana are my favorites. Gongcast says AEW should release an unmarked generic jobber figure patterned after Peter Avalon. I think he had it when AEW first started, says Sapphire. The Sammy is funny, says High Flyer. I agree, man. I think they're really, really good, really strong. So we've spoke about what's coming up tonight. We've spoke about the figures as well that we've got. We do have the brackets for NXT. So here is the Dusty bracket for those of you that might have forgotten. I did. I'll be quite happy to admit I've forgotten who was doing what. We've got Undisputed Era taking on Ciampa and Thatcher. Ciampa and Thatcher were victorious over Tony Nese and Daivari the other day, I think on 205. So, what a match that's going to be. Undisputed Era versus Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. That's not tonight, though, I don't think. We are getting tonight Kushida and Leon Ruff against Grizzled Young Veterans. So, that's tonight. So, the winners of that will take on the winners of Undisputed Era and Ciampa and Thatcher. It's hard to know who's going to win out of Undisputed Era, Ciampa and Thatcher. I mean, Ciampa and Thatcher have only just got together. They could be a tag team for a while. So, Ciampa and Thatcher could win that. They're the dark horses now. Over on the other side, we've got MSK against Maverick and Dain. That is this week. So, MSK against Maverick and Dain. I would imagine MSK are going to win that. Excited to see them again. And then at the bottom, we got Lucha House Party taking on Legado del Fantasma. I really like that match because all four of them are luchas and luchadors. And so it should be a really fun match, like high-flying, constant action. I know Legado del Fantasma want to bring the respect back to luchadors in many ways. Lucha House Party are the complete opposite. It's probably Lucha House Party that they despise because, you know, they come down with their piñatas and they're kind of like a bit embarrassing. So I should imagine Legado del Fantasma really looking forward to getting their hands on Lucha House Party. So really quite interesting bracket for the guys there. Feel free to let me know who you think's going to win this. I'm still siding to MSK. But it could be Ciampa and Thatcher. I could see Ciampa and Thatcher doing very, very well here. Maybe that'll be the final. MSK against Ciampa and Thatcher. So that's the men's bracket. As well as that, we've also got the women's bracket, which obviously isn't as big. But we'll jump into that now. So as you can see, it's half the size. Unfortunately, Gigi Dolan, which is Priscilla Kelly, and Cora Jade have been eliminated by Candice and Indy Hartwell. Obviously, we saw Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter get past Mercedes Martinez and Tony Storm, which I thought was a massive shock. We've still got, so tonight on NXT, we've got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Aliyah and Jessi. I would imagine Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez win that, which will set them up with a match against Casey and Caden, and that'll be for a spot in the final. And I don't believe this match is this week, but Shotzi and Ember taking on Marina Shafir and Zoe Stark. Again, people were saying, where's Jessamine Duke? And it's a really good shout. I don't know is the answer. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about her. Like, she's not been released, or I don't think she's injured, but you would have expected Jessamine Duke to have been with Marina Shafir. But no, she's with another newcomer, Zoe Stark. So hard to know who's going to win. I would imagine it'll be Shotzi and Ember. Shotzi and Ember then sets up, obviously, a big match with Candice and Indy. So, yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. Not a bad-looking bracket there either. So, this is what I'm saying, man. There's so much going on at the moment. Just drowning in things. Women's one is so small. They should have brought some teams from the main roster. That would have been really good. That would have given them a real boost as well if they'd have brought in some names. And certainly if this thing's meant to be the first ever and it's meant to be really prestigious, then yeah, why didn't they do that? So it's a really good shout. They absolutely should have done that. Duke is still playing video games, says Butterspark. Bonyak, shout out to you, my friend. Hope you are well. Patrick O'Neill says the UFC figures look good. What are your thoughts? I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. We were talking about that earlier. I think some of them look good, like I think Ngannou. I think certainly the Masvidal, but some of them as well, like the Amanda Nunes and the Conor. I don't, considering the Conor one is easily going to be the best seller, you would have thought that would have been absolutely on point. And I'm not sure it is. Well, it's not for me. It looks like a knockoff of Conor, without being too cruel. But yeah, I think some are great and some are still need a bit more work. I'm sure Conor is someone that we'll get, in the future again as well. But not a bad start. Let's put it that way. Not a bad start. Masvidal in particular looks awesome. Tim says, not expecting anything amazing from these shows tonight. Well, before we do, I do want to jump into the chat, so I appreciate I've been talking a lot. We've still got to talk about wrestle votes. Okay, we'll talk about wrestle votes. Whilst I'm still remembering, I think we've potentially got 3 streams tomorrow, right? Streamomania tomorrow. I need to do the Royal Rumble predictions video. We will start well before the Rumble, right? So we always do at least an hour before the kickoff show, and we'll do the same on Sunday. So an hour before the kickoff show, maybe even before we will start the live stream for the Royal Rumble. It's one of the biggest streams of the year, and really looking forward to that show. So that is on Sunday. So there will be a prediction stream tomorrow. I'm looking at about 7 UK time, which is about 2 Eastern, obviously in the afternoon, evening, PM. So I'm looking around that time tomorrow. We'll probably do about an hour where we'll talk about what surprises there could be, what the latest rumors are. I wanted to just leave it. I could have done it today, but I just wanted to leave it a little longer because I'm finding more and more little rumors that are kind of coming out, and yeah, I just kind of thought wait just a little bit on this one because there just seems to be a real buzz this year. I think this is a really exciting one. I think it's hard to predict. I've seen a few prediction videos where people have gone with lots of different names. There's lots of different theories as to what's going to happen, and we'll talk about the WrestleVotes tweet in a second because that might spin your head even more. So yeah, we've got a Rumble stream tomorrow. For those of you that are members on the channel, as you know, we always do a members stream. That's at 11 o'clock p.m. So that will be much later after that predictions thing. But we're doing a Royal Rumble stream as well. So we are going to do a Royal Rumble watch-along. That will be at midnight UK time or 7 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, like Streamomania tomorrow. I've got 3 streams, 2 of which are going to be public. One will be a Rumble predictions. One will be a Royal Rumble watch-along. You can actually vote on that Royal Rumble watch-along right now on the Wrestling Days Twitter account. There's a couple of hours left, and I can tell you that Royal Rumble 2016 is just slightly in the lead. Slightly in the lead. I think there's about 30 votes in it, which is nothing. I don't even know if it's that many, actually. I put 4 options. I put 92 because it's regarded as one of the best. I put 97 because it's a massive Royal Rumble. Like, just it feels big. And it's kind of at the start of the Attitude Era, and I think it's a fun Rumble. So I've put that in there. I think the undercard's quite fun as well to go back and watch. I really love 97. I think 97 was such an important year. I mean, obviously at the end of the year, you've got the Montreal Screwjob, which, you know, very much brought us the Mr. McMahon character. But, you know, 97 as well, we see the arrival of Kane. The Rumble that year is very interesting also. So I think 97 is such an important year. I thought that'd be fun to go back to. I put 2006 because that's regarded as one of the best ever Rumbles as well. I don't know if I should say who wins it or why it's important, but let's just say it's around that time that Eddie Guerrero passed. So that might help explain why it's important. But 06, which is doing very well in the poll. And then I wanted some at recent. And I went with 2016 because that was the channel started. And the very first video I did was a Royal Rumble predictions video. Very, very first video on this channel is talking about the Royal Rumble in 2016. So I kind of thought that it would be fun to revisit it and actually do a watch along of that show. That's the one that's winning at the moment, but I think they're all good options. So, if you want to vote on that, it's on Twitter right now. Right, 18 minutes left, and I really want to tell you this tweet from WrestleVotes. I know I'm going a million miles an hour, and I'm not in the chat as much as usual, but I'm sure you can appreciate there's quite a bit to talk about. So, the WrestleVotes tweet. Okay, it says this. This was sent through this morning, basically. So, sorry for the lack of details, but this is still noteworthy, in my opinion. Had a brief conversation earlier with a source regarding the men's Royal Rumble. They said, right, this is what someone has told WrestleVotes, and I believe this conversation. WrestleVotes told us who was going into the Hall of Fame last year. WrestleVotes told us last year that Roman was out of WrestleMania, and they were the first to tell us who was replacing him. All of this was proven to be correct. A lot of stuff they've come through with has been bang on the money. So I believe this, okay? So this is what they've been told. There's a finish that scares the death out of me, and it's legitimately getting heavy consideration. So there is apparently a finish that is terrifying whoever this person is backstage, and it is getting heavy consideration. I've seen a lot of theories as to what that could be. The one thing, I think you know what I would hate, and that would be for the Fiend to like do something silly where, I don't know, he sets the ring on fire and everyone jumps over the top rope and he wins as a result. I kind of feel that the Rumble, do you know what I mean? I want someone to win it and earn it. I don't want anything silly with the Rumble. I want a proper Rumble. I want some, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many stories. You've got Edge. This might be Edge's last time. This could be Edge's last Rumble. I mean, like, he only had a couple of matches last year. One of them, he tore his pec, didn't he, during that match? I mean, how long has Edge got left? We don't know. I mean, he only had a couple of matches and he got severely injured. So you've got to say that time is against Edge. So Edge winning the Rumble, it feels like it's got to be now or never. Daniel Bryan has said that he's not going to be sticking around very long. Daniel Bryan has said this is his last run. He's got a family now. He doesn't want to do this full-time anymore. He came back. He's happy that he came back. He had another world title run, obviously, when he had the Eco-Friendly Championship. He's actually been back for a little while now. And he wants to focus on his family, and this could be Daniel's last opportunity to win the Rumble. Obviously, it's always fun when you see like some new stars winning the Rumble, people that haven't won it before. Like, could this be the crowning moment for Cesaro? I've seen a few people saying that it might be his time. Could Nakamura win it again? He's got such momentum at the moment. You'd have to say that's an option. So yeah, there's a few options out there. So my concern would be that this is going to be somewhat stupid. One of the other theories I've seen is that Alexa Bliss is going to win the men's rumble. So Alexa Bliss is going to come down as number 30 or number 29 or something. But she obviously, we've seen women in the rumble before, but she is obviously currently the vehicle. She seems to be possessed by the Fiend at the moment. So it could be that they go that way. If it's not going to be the Fiend or Alexa or something like that, I know another way that people are terrified of would be, they've never done this finish and I've seen a lot of talk about it. Two people in the Rumble, they both eliminate each other. That then means number 30 wins. Whoever number 30 is, there's no one for them to eliminate. They are going to come down to the ring and they are winning the Rumble. Now, if you could tell that story, and it's a story that should be told, who would that be? That could be anyone. That could be anyone. Whoever comes down at number 30, it could be anyone. So they could be Brock. They could have Brock win the Rumble, which I personally don't mind. I think Brock, former UFC heavyweight champion, the man that ended the Undertaker streak, multiple-time world champion, beast incarnate, looks like death itself. I don't mind him winning it, but I know that that's not what the majority of people would enjoy. So, yeah, it could be something to do with the Fiend, could be something to do with Alexa, could be something to do with Brock. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, if you feel free to let me know what you think, which way you think they'll go. But yeah, it's interesting. Apparently, someone backstage is terrified that they're even considering this. So it does make you think it's going to be something really out there. It does make you think it's going to be something that we're not expecting. And I can't quite figure out what that's going to be. Goldberg loses to Drew but wins the Rumble. Something like that. What if Goldberg's a mystery entrant? Because we know that he's going to be at Mania. So it could be Goldberg. I mean, again, people would hate that. And I don't know. I would love for it to be like Daniel Bryan or Cesaro. I don't mind Edge. But apparently it's going to happen in the men's. Whatever this thing is, it's happening in the men's Rumble. Women's Rumble. I mean, I like Bianca Belair. I'd love for her to win it. Becky could come back. I'd love for her to win it. As I said, I don't really want to make this about the Rumble. Hence why we're dropping this in now with like just over 10 minutes to go. But, and we're just going to the Caribbean strap match as well. So, yeah, I don't want to spend too long on the Rumble because we will do a stream on it tomorrow. But, yeah. Just when you thought, like, wow, this is a hard year to predict, now all of a sudden they're starting to consider something really out there. So, all of a sudden now it's like, I'm excited. I'm scared. I don't know. It's, I can't wait. I can't wait to see which way they go and what they're going to do. It's I will admit it's an exciting Rumble. Been a long time. Normally you've got like 2 or 3 options. This year, legit, I could name you 5 guys that could win it and 5 girls that could win it. So I think it's really, really interesting. Taboy says, how does WrestleVotes know what's going to happen? I genuinely believe they know someone. I think they've got an inside source. I think they've got a connection, someone that works backstage at WWE and hears all the latest news rumors. Maybe someone that's even in some of those meetings. We obviously don't know who their sources are, but I can only tell you that they announced who was going into the Hall of Fame last year before WWE did. They told us what was happening with the Rumble. They told us when we were going to have to move like to a different venue, and they've been first on a lot of stuff, man. So I have to take that into account. So yeah, interesting, innit? It is interesting. Gaming in real time. Shout out to you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You guys have been awesome. when it comes to COVID. So I'm sorry to hear that you've had it kind of flare up a little bit again. Hope everyone is staying safe out there.
Gaming in real time is a legend.
We've got
They donated $2 New Zealand via super chat. Days we have an evolving COVID situation in NZ. Smiley face.
Wow, I am very sorry to hear that, my friend. We just passed 100,000 deaths here in the UK. So yeah, you know, it's the vaccine's here, and you know, everyone's putting their hopes in that, but it's still so awful out there. Right, Caribbean strap match underway on MLW right now, and it's Holiday taking on Savio Vega. Vega using the strap, whipping away. So we are
Rebecca
up and running.
Arthur is a legend. They donated $10 via a super chat. Mystery entrant is the Gobbledygooper.
Hello, Rebecca Arthur. Shout out to you, my friend. The Gobbledygooper. Well, I mean, look, this is... If it is going to be something that is terrifying this person backstage, then if they are going to do that number 30 thing, which we don't know they are, but if they are going to do that number 30 thing, it literally could be anyone. It literally could be anyone that comes down. So I wouldn't imagine it'll be the Gobbledygooker. I would be surprised if it was that, but who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows what Vince is? Vince has got $1 billion in his back pocket right now, thanks to Peacock. So he could... I'm not sure he's caring. I'm not sure he's caring who's winning. He might book himself to win it. He might have him at number 30. Might be Vince coming down with his money. Might be Vince dressed as a peacock, making his way down, styling and profiling, winning the Rumble. The mystery entrant should be Shark Boy or Amazing Rex. Hogan is going to come down at 30, says John. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect. So, as we said, you know, I wanted to kind of see if there was any more news that was going to come out about it today. Or tomorrow, so that's why I could have done the Royal, and we normally do the Royal Rumble predictions on normally a Tuesday, in all fairness, so they are very much delayed this time around, but should make for a very interesting stream. I'm going to see and find out as much as I can, and we are literally just going to talk about everything. I've got a list of like mystery people that could be in it, like realistic people that could be in it. So, yeah, we'll have some fun in that stream. Right, we are 7 minutes away from NXT and AEW. Jim Gore says WWE should change the name of 205 Live to NXT Superstars and have it be NXT's version of Main Event. Yeah, I do think the 205 Live thing isn't working for them. I don't even know if it is 205 anymore. Like, I don't know. There's probably people on it that are over 205. So I don't even know if that's being stuck to. But, yeah, I agree. I think a rebranding is very much required. Dave Meltzer has said that Jungle Boy and Dax Harwood match tonight on AEW. People inside it can't wait for people to see it. It's getting high praise, says Daniel. Are we not live tonight then? Is this a recorded show? I thought we were live tonight for AEW. What if Goldberg beats Drew, then Cena wins the Rumble? He challenges Goldberg and breaks Ric Flair's record. I to be honest, I don't know that Cena winning the Rumble fits in with what WrestleVotes has said. You know, at the moment, there's some kind of crazy finish to the men's Rumble that's being considered. Is Cena winning the Rumble a crazy thing? I suppose it depends how he wins it, but I don't know. I mean, like, personally, if it's all, like, above board and all normal, like, Cena winning wouldn't bother me. Certainly not if he's coming back as a heel. I think that'd be interesting. He probably, I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would come back as a heel. We kind of saw him in that little WrestleMania announcement thing, and he still seemed the same, didn't he? We're still underway with this strap match on MLW. Both guys are down at the moment. It is weird seeing Savio Vega competing in a ring in 2021, but here we are. The villain is going to enter the Rumble. I don't think so, 'cause he was wasn't he part of that speaking out movement? There were allegations, so I have no idea what truth there was behind them, or if there was any truth behind them. I do have to stress that they were just allegations. But I can't see him being in the Rumble. Jay White is interesting, but again, New Japan fans adamant that is not going to happen. I would love to see the 3 faces of Wyatt in the Rumble, says Potsy Era. What if Tuck is a surprise entrant into the Rumble, says Andres. Lauren says predictions on Saturday as there are no streams that day and SmackDown would have happened. It feels a bit late, to be honest, to do it on Saturday. Just because, like, the day before, don't know. There's people that are, the conversation is happening right now. Like, people are all the time in the chat. People are like, who do you think's going to win the Rumble? Who do you think's going to win the Rumble? So, I don't know. Saturday might feel a little bit late. I don't know what we're doing on Saturday, in all fairness. I haven't quite got my head around Saturday. Savio Vega choking out Holiday at the moment. Mark Calloway wins the Rumble. What sort till I die? I'd be so down for that. Do you know what I mean? Undertaker's retired, but Mark Calloway coming in and winning it, I'm fine with that. If Fiend is going to return as a more scarier and powerful character than anything else in the Rumble, wouldn't the win be good? Wouldn't anyone eliminating him hurt the character? Let's not even go there. Let's not even open up that conversation. Alex says, I'm going to give AEW another try when it comes on ITV this week. Are there any shows or matches I should try to watch? I hate tag matches. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, like, I do think that if you hate tag matches, you're going to struggle with AEW because they do put a lot onto their tag division. Very proud of their tag division. Obviously, you've got, like, FTR and the Young Bucks, and, they're trying to push like Inner Circle now with like tag work. We're seeing like Jericho and MJF tonight. Obviously you got the Lucha Bros as well. I mean, like, there's just loads of tag teams, and so you tend to get a fair few tag matches each week. I would say like I would say you'd probably get more from the big shows. I'd say you'd probably get more from like the big pay-per-view shows, because that's when you tend to get like big singles matches. They do a decent job of mixing it up, but yeah, I don't think even the hardcore AEW fans would argue that you would struggle if you're not a fan of multi-person matches, because you do tend to get a lot of them on Dynamite. But they're not bad. They're not bad. Dynamite's a fairly solid show. What are you watching AEW on? I'm watching it on Fight TV, and it's starting in a minute. MLW is still going on. It looks like MLW is going to overrun a little bit this week. Have you seen that WWE are going to reveal the number 30 spot? I have, yeah. I think that sucks. I think that absolutely sucks. I mean, I suppose in a way, does that eliminate number 30 winning? Because we will all know who it's going to be. If they were going to have number 30 win, surely they would at least not tell us who it is. So number 30 coming in, you'd have to think is not going to be. They're not going to book it the way that we were wondering that they might. So yeah, I think that sucks. Why would you ever want to reveal who number 30 is? Days, at this point, I'm pretty sure I've fallen in love with Shotzi. We're still 30 seconds away from AEW. Holiday wins the strap match by touching all 4 corners. So seemed all right, that match. Seemed all right. It's fun to see Savio Vega competing. So I like MLW. They deserve some support. Right, we are up and running. Of course, we had the fight pits last week. And those guys would go on to form a tag team. And they were victorious on 205 Live. Right, let's change the clock over as well. Right, Eddie Kingston is making his way down on AEW. So we are up and running. So we've got Eddie Kingston starting us off. Taking on Lance Archer. Here we go, says John. Right. Eddie Kingston, Lance Archer, AEW and NXT are here. Yes. They're going to reveal 30. That's awful, says Zach19 on WWE Backstage. I mean, I think they're doing it because they want you to tune into that show, obviously. But, I don't know, man. That's definitely not the way I would go about it. I mean, I don't mind with them revealing just who's going to be number one. And I hope that's Sammy. It should absolutely be Sammy that is number one and push this whole conspiracy thing. Right, have we got MSK now? Right, I am really into this MSK team. Really, really impressed with that Wes Lee. So, looking forward to this. Right, Lance has come out. I think he's told Jake to go to the back. Doesn't need him, so Jake's walked away. We're underway with Eddie Kingston against Lance Archer. MSK have made their way down. We're starting off with MSK against Killian, Dain, and Drake Maverick in the Dusty Cup. I'd imagine MSK are going to be victorious here. I don't see how it benefits them getting eliminated by Drake Maverick and Killian Dain, but this should be a fun match. Let's go down. What if Goldberg beats Drew, then later attacks number 30, replaces him, wins via default because the final men eliminate themselves, then he challenges Roman for a unification match? It's pretty wild thinking. I wouldn't hate it. That's how controversial is that. I wouldn't hate it. It's not the way that I would want to go. The reason why I say I wouldn't hate it, because, and hear me out, because I appreciate there's people now going, what? Right? Don't worry, hear me out. I wouldn't hate it because I want one champion. So, first of all, if we are going to get a unification match, sign me up. Yeah? So, if we are just going to get rid of, like, we should just have the WWE Championship. I'm not a fan of having, like, two champions. Just the one for me. So, unification match at WrestleMania, we would get that. Love that idea. And honestly, I think that Roman, should be the person to carry that belt. So, do I want to see Roman beat Drew at WrestleMania? That doesn't feel right. Seeing Roman beat Drew for the unified belts, because I think Drew deserves to win that eventually. And I don't want to see him lose at WrestleMania. I like Drew. I like what Drew's doing. Goldberg losing at WrestleMania. Sign me up. So, Goldberg against Roman. Goldberg loses. And Roman becomes the unified champion. I can see some positives there. Granted, there'd be a massive backlash. People would absolutely hate it. I would totally understand. But I'm just thinking ahead to WrestleMania. We would end up with one champion, and hopefully that person would be Roman. And then Drew could ultimately compete for that title at some point and would stand a very good chance of winning it. And wouldn't take the loss at WrestleMania. So there are a few positives there. But no denying, I'd imagine people would still say the negatives outweigh the positives, but I think there's probably better things you could do for the Rumble. In fact, there's definitely better things you could do for the Rumble. Against the ropes goes Drake Maverick. Nice drop kick. I forget that guy's name.
Gaming
Wesley,
in real time is a legend. They donated $2 New Zealand via a super chat.
Gaming.
Days a half red and half blue belt. Smiley face. Universal.
No, thank you. Oh, they would do something like that as well, wouldn't they? To represent Raw and... Oh, God. Awful. Awful. Why can't we just have, like, a really beautiful belt, like the Winged Eagle, like Big Gold? Right, good work this by Maverick and Dain. Sent on by Dain. So, Maverick and Dain in control at the moment. I don't care about Drew Roman. I do think it's one of the biggest matches. I think the biggest match that you could book right now is Drew against Roman, title versus title. I mean, like, Drew is the face of Raw because he's the champion of Raw. And Roman is easily the face of SmackDown. Not just because he's the champion, but because he's just used all the time. So having those two collide would be huge. And like to say that you're going to unify the belts. Huge. So, yeah, I'm down for that match. I am down for that match. Days, I'm already calling it that number 30 is going to be a swerve. They're going to reveal number 30 to be a jobber or a low-card star, but then they will have someone replace them, just like Becky did with Lana. I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. I understand you're doing it, like, once with, like, what Becky did with Lana. But, didn't we saw Nia do it with R-Truth as well? Wasn't R-Truth, like, number 30 in the men's? And he got replaced by Nia because she beat him up. Well, I can't remember if he was 30, but he definitely got replaced by Nia Jax. And she ended up going down into the men's. I kind of feel like this is something now that we see happen quite a bit. I don't need to see it again. Like, I don't need to see it. If you're going to announce number 30, let's just run with that's going to be number 30. Unless that person gets beaten up earlier in the night and then we're told they're out of the Rumble, we're going to have to find a replacement. But then why even announce it in the first place? Like, it's just... I don't know. If you're going to announce it and then take it away, just don't announce it in the first place. Right, we've got Lance Archer looking for a choke slam. Basement drop kick by Eddie Kingston. Kingston against the ropes. Shoulder tackle. These two really throwing some big strikes at each other. NXT is at commercial break, by the way. I don't want to see the titles unified. Other guys just won't get an opportunity. Who's getting opportunities, though, in all fairness? Who is getting opportunities? I mean, I don't know that it's that we've seen. I don't know that we've really made any stars by having two belts. I don't know that it's made a big difference. I kind of think that I don't know. For me, I think it waters it down. Having two world champions doesn't really make much sense to me. I understand back in the day you had like an NWA champion and a WWE champion, but they were different promotions and, you know, their paths never crossed. I just don't feel like the Raw roster is big enough for a world champion, and I don't feel that the SmackDown roster is big enough for a world champion. You could have an overall champion, and then you could have a Raw champion and a SmackDown champion. Maybe you could look at something like that. I do think there's a lot of belts as well, though, but, you know, this is a whole separate conversation, isn't it? I just think one champion that represents WWE, that can go to any brand, defend... They could go and defend in NXT UK, they could defend on NXT, they could go to Raw, they could go to SmackDown, they could go to NXT India when that opens up. Just having one champion that's free to go anywhere in WWE, I think that's really exciting, rather than them just being tied to a brand. And that is the guy. Do you know what I mean? That is the champion. Maybe that person really you only tend to see it like bigger shows, pay-per-view shows or something. Maybe they do a NXT UK takeover show. Maybe they do, obviously, the big pay-per-views. But maybe they skip some of the B pay-per-views. It just, like, one champion, and it feels like a big deal when they're on the show. I like that. I do like that. It reminds me a lot of how it used to be. I mean, you never saw the WWE champion week after week after week on WWE TV. You just never saw it. I'm thinking like when Raw first started, you rarely saw Bret Hart or Hogan. They certainly weren't there week after week after week. Right, I can tell you that Butcher and Blade have beaten up Jake Roberts. Bunny has handed some brass knucks or something to Eddie Kingston. He knocks out Lance. 1, 2, 3. And Eddie Kingston has won thanks to some heel work by Butcher, Blade, and is she the bunny or is she back to being Ali now? She hasn't got a bunny mask on. She's not in bunny attire. So there we go. First match down. Eddie Kingston victorious thanks to help from his squad. Still underway with MSK against Maverick and Dain. Vince is messing with TNT Network, so NXT gets better ratings. Creed, shout out to you. Archer was robbed, says Lone Star Friend. AEW is redundant. They're on TNT. They've got a TNT title and a tag team called TNT. I think they'd be quite happy with where they are with ratings. I tell you, I mean, if they move to a Monday night, things could get interesting. I mean, at what point would they look to do that? Because they could have a second show on a Wednesday and their main show on a Monday. And then all of a sudden, you've got a wrestling show up against Raw. And you have to say a Raw that's struggling at the moment. I saw some numbers about Raw, actually. Do you know, Raw ratings back in 2017, on average, was 3 million viewers in 2017. Then I think it went down in 2018 to 2.8. Then in 2019, it was 2.2. 2020, I think it was 1.8. And that is where we are right now, 1.8. But if you go back to 2017, it was 3 million. I do appreciate people watch TV in different ways now. So I understand, you know, there's arguments about DVRs and blah, blah, blah. But still, on paper, doesn't look great, does it? 3 million is the average they were getting back in 2017. Now they're doing 1.8. It's dropped by, well, nearly 50%. Roll up by Maverick. Kick out by MSK, or Wesley of MSK. So we are over with the AEW match. In between the legs. Back elbow by Wesley. I think Killian Dain is down on the outside. It means that Drake Maverick's on his own. Good work by MSK. 1, 2, 3, and they have won. MSK have won. MSK are progressing. Decent match from what I was seeing. It looked all right. Didn't look as good as the first one I saw, but I do like this team. I can see that team competing at TakeOver. That's a TakeOver team. Very exciting. Remind me a lot of like a DIY or a American Alpha. Probably more so American Alpha. Getting American Alpha vibes. We got Moxley on AEW cutting a promo. So MSK are going to go forward to face Lucha House Party or Legado del Fantasma. TNT just works on cable but not on an app. I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I think Edge declaring is a sign that he won't win. I think Edge declaring is a sign that they're desperate to get people to tune in. I think if your TV show is being watched by 1.8 million, you need to find a way of making sure that you're getting the message out to millions more that the Royal Rumble is this weekend. So I think Edge coming back is something that's going to get people talking. You know, Edge is someone that casual fans know. Edge is someone that's loved. Edge is it was the big shock last year, so perhaps they don't want to do an Edge return as a shock this year because we had it last year. Perhaps they have got something else in mind for the surprise this year. So I don't know that it's a sign that he's not going to win. I think it's more a sign that they really need to get the message out that the Rumble is this weekend. All right. To all of you that aren't watching week in, week out, it's the Royal Rumble this weekend. Up next, we're going to have the women's match. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Jessi and Aliyah. Raw should be cancelled for a few weeks so WWE can get their act together. It's so hard to know what's happening with Raw because we do see a lot of examples of... we were talking about this the other day, like Sheamus had a match against John Morrison. And then straight after, it was a handicap match. Sheamus stayed out there and did 2 matches in a row. And we've seen a lot of examples of that. We've seen a lot of examples. Like, again, same show. Charlotte took on Shayna. That match was quickly ended. And then it got turned into a tag match featuring Charlotte and Shayna. So, I don't know. I can't put my finger on why they keep doing that. Why are they constantly running a match? And like, look at Riddle. Riddle had to run a gauntlet match. It was Riddle against... Basically, Riddle had 3 matches in a row. Riddle against Shelton. Riddle against MVP, which was very short. And then Riddle against Cedric. So, yeah, I don't know. They just seem to be focusing on a few certain stars and getting those stars to eat up quite a bit of time. I don't know. Perhaps they think those stars are going to drive ratings, or... Perhaps it's COVID and they don't want too many people around, or I can't quite put my finger on it. But yeah, it's not working for me. Right, let me jot this down. Dakota Kai and Gonzalez versus Aliyah and Jessi. I feel sorry for Aliyah. They've tried to do a few different things with her. Like they put her with the Robert Stone brand and it didn't quite work. Well, I mean, I think it was okay, but it went nowhere. Now she finds herself partnering with Jessi, and I can kind of see this going nowhere as well. So I really feel for them. I feel for her. And like Jessi has been around for a long time. I saw Jessi compete on a house show at the end of 2018. When I went to America. She was on the show. So I've seen Jessi around all that time. And again, you know, they just don't seem to know what to do with her. Ratings are stupid anyway, says Sean. 3 hours Raw isn't working for anyone but Vince's pocket. Dave in real life, hope you are well. Yeah, I mean, we say it every week, don't we? We say it every week. It gets to the point where you just stop saying it. I've got a soft spot for Aliyah and Jessi, but I don't think they've got a chance of winning. I agree. I secretly want them to win as well. Right, we're seeing Sting and Darby Allin in quite a cool-looking space, like an abandoned the kind of place that you would imagine they hang out. Look at the broken window. It's like an abandoned warehouse. We've got broken windows in the background and perfect place to go skateboarding.
Okay, Darby, he is a hoodlum. Darby, you are a hoodlum. You see in the streets, it doesn't matter if you play clean or dirty.
In the streets, it doesn't matter if you play clean or dirty. He's a hoodlum. No different than you, Sting. Well, he just threw his skateboard through the window, and I don't really get it. They must really hate those windows. I mean, they were broke anyway. Has that achieved anything, Sting? Do you feel better now? And Sting says, I'm a hoodlum as well. He's going to have to get his skateboard back now. If he's thrown his skateboard inside that warehouse, it's going to be a nightmare to get in. Lots of hoodlums around. It's exciting, isn't it? Brian Cage, Ricky Starks taking on Sting and Darby Allin in a street fight. Moving on, we've got Jericho and MJF taking on the Varsity Blondes. So that's going to be our next match over on NXT. Tyler Rust. I don't know anything about this guy. I feel like he's come from Evolve. MJF and Jericho versus Varsity Blondes. Right, in the ring we've got Aliyah and Jessi. There's Robert Stone. So is Jessi part of the Robert Stone brand now? She's got different ring gear as well. Jessi used to have a gimmick where she was kind of like a bit of a nerd, a bit of a geek. She wore glasses and she carried like a book and she was like kind of fun. And I thought that was quite a fun little gimmick that she had. I suppose I can understand that, you know, it's not going to take her to the top. So I can understand them changing it, but I can't see what they've changed it to. I don't know what they've changed the gimmick to. Dakota has come out. Last time we saw her, she was getting locked in a locker, I believe. Don't think I've seen her since then. Raquel Gonzalez, they've done a really good job of making her feel like a massive deal. She no longer feels like the sidekick of Dakota Kai. Like Raquel Gonzalez now feels like she's very much stepped out of the shadow of Dakota. Really good last woman standing match the other week, and yeah, these two are a problem. These two are definitely a problem in this. Oh, that Jessi's ring attire does not look good. Not a fan of it at all. It's weird. Right, we've got MJF. MJF saying, just tell everyone you quit. And he doesn't do that. Instead, he gets punched in the face, and we are up and running. I think Aliyah looks quite cool in gold. I think that's kind of nice. Raquel needs... What does Raquel need? Raquel has improved greatly, says Austin. Dakota feels like the sidekick now. Yeah, I agree. Tall Paul 2000, shout out to you. I really want them to do something with Jessi. She's a good size. She's a big girl. Nice elbows. She's trying to get Raquel Gonzalez down. Raquel Gonzalez drops an elbow. Drop kick by Jessi. Raquel Gonzalez into the corner. Big strike by Jessi. Gets thrown into the corner. Dakota tries to swing at Jessi. Strike to the back of the head. Jessi goes into the corner.
Tall Paul 2000 is a legend. They donated £1.49 via a super chat.
Tall Paul 2000, shout out to you. AJ Styles says SmackDown is the only thing that's keeping the main roster alive at the moment. I would agree. I love that Roman story. We were talking the other day about how he was saying that he does a lot of talking with Paul Heyman, and they send a lot of messages back and forth, and really they're so focused on the detail. And I do think that comes across in that story. Oh, that was nice. Dakota Kai got thrown against the ropes. She had to jump over Jessi, who was doing the splits. She had to jump over Aliyah that was doing the splits. What I don't understand is why didn't she just boot one of them in the head? Why did she kind of jump over them when she could have just kicked them in the head? Into the corner goes Aliyah. Dakota went into the corner, back elbow. Big boot, though, by Aliyah. That was good. Haluva kick. That was good. That was a good spot by Aliyah. I got to tell you, Aliyah, I think she was on the show Breaking Ground, which is like on the network. Like I want to say it's around 2015, 2016, something like that.
Scott Turner is a legend.
Awful.
They donated £1 and 50 pence via a super chat.
But she's so improved. So improved. I do find myself cheering for. I agree with the chat. I see something in Jessi, and I'm rooting for Aliyah because I've seen her journey year after year after year. She has ground away. She's put the work in. Like, seeing her facial expressions, the way that she acts in the ring, compared to where she was. She is an advert for the Performance Center, let me tell you. Planted down by Raquel Gonzalez. Scott Turner, shout out to you, my friend. Days, if Edge doesn't win the Rumble, then his full focus will be on Randy, whose full focus is on The Fiend. So how do you think WWE will go forward with Randy having two rivalries? Well, I mean, like, you would have to think that they would park one. You'd have to think that, like, Edge could go and focus on something else short term. Or maybe Fiend. Well, I don't think Fiend is going to focus on something else short term. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like one of them is going to have to focus on something else. What are your thoughts on the Hall of Fame? I think it's pointless. I like it. I like the Hall of Fame. I think that it rewards people that maybe haven't been rewarded. It certainly rewards those that have as well. But, you know, there's people in the Hall of Fame that have never won the WWE Championship, for example. It's kind of like the ultimate honor. And I like that. A lot of sports have Hall of Fames. And I think for WWE to have one does make sense. I would like a physical Hall of Fame. I know they've wanted to do something in Florida for the longest time. So I think it's nice. I think the fans respond to it well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised you're against it. I'm not against it. I think it's always exciting to find out who's going in. Fans like to talk about who they would like to see go in. You know, it means something to the legends as well. You know, a lot of them walk around with their rings on all the time, and you know, you can see what it means to people. I think it's nice hearing their stories with their induction speeches, and some of them can go on, of course, but I don't know. I'm struggling to see why it's not worth it. I think there's a lot of positives that come out of it. Gives us a chance to honour the legends in a nice way. If it wasn't there, when would we do that? But each to their own. But yeah, it looks like this year's class is basically last year's class. Nice sing-along power bomb there by Raquel Gonzalez. 2, 3, and she gets the win. She managed to do that on Jessi, which was even more impressive. Managed to pick up and slam down Jessi. Dakota Kai jumps up and... Why has she done that? Dakota Kai got caught by Raquel Gonzalez. She looked like a child for a second then. Nice missile drop kick there by the Varsity Blondes. In comes Jericho on AEW. Super kick. We're already half an hour through the shows. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Jericho. Shoulder up by Jericho. So the bigger story is that Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez have progressed on NXT. So we're just having a look at that bracket right now. That means that they are going to go on to face Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. So Casey and Caden going to be taking on Dakota and Raquel. That is next week. Do feel for Jessi and Aliyah, but I think we all knew they weren't going to be progressing. Right, action on the outside for AEW. We've got the Way backstage. I don't know if I've heard Indy Artwell actually say anything, you know. Oh. There we go. Heard her talk then. Must be Christmas for me. 2, 3. Jericho gets the pin. So there we go. MJF and Jericho beat the Varsity Blondes. I did see Jericho post a picture of him looking in his wardrobe mirror, and he had like good looking abs. I don't know if they were photoshopped or not, because I'm not seeing them right now. Days, what are your... Oh, we read that one. The Fiend won't appreciate Edge getting involved with Randy. It's going to create hostility. Jessi with the hot tag and fail, says Jason. We just saw Dexter Loomis in the background whilst the Way were cutting a promo. We've got Inner Circle all in the ring at the moment. All giving the middle finger. Grubhub, main man, says, I hope MSK win the Dusty Cup. Days, I think WWE has got another chance with Braun. I heard he looks ripped. He does, yeah. It's probably good keeping him away for a little while and letting him, like, I mean, like, could he be coming back at the Rumble? I haven't seen anyone talk about Braun. Right, we've got Pac cutting one of his promos. I thought this was Newcastle. I thought that was his like place in Newcastle. Because that's the same space that he cut the promo in when he was talking about going crazy because of lockdown. Maybe he's gone back to the UK. Good. I like those promos from Pac. Passionate. They look cool. I like them. The other UFC figure is a younger Masvidal. It's been confirmed according to J14. Have you got, do you know where that's been confirmed? I'd like to see that. Honestly, if it is a younger Masvidal, that's wild. Because I'm all down for chase figures. But as we saw with the AEW ones, chase figures normally mean different coloured attire. Not like a completely different era for someone. So I certainly was looking at that, trying to figure out what current star it was. And it looked like Chimaev to me. So that's wild. Edge and Randy get on the same page and take the Fiend out, says HBK. What did I miss, says Andrew. Not a great deal. There's been a couple of tag matches on NXT. So MSK has progressed and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez have got through as well. Over on AEW, we've seen Eddie Kingston cheat his way to victory over Lance Archer. And we just saw MJF and Jericho beat the Varsity Blondes. So it's been all right. I would say skippable, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I think some of the action's been good. I don't know. I don't know if skippable's the right word. Let's just say not essential. It's not been essential. This hasn't been a night so far that it's like, wow, yes, you're joining us and this has happened and that has happened. But maybe that's all still to come. It is still very early. 35 minutes in. We got an hour and 25 left. Obviously, we've got Cody and Shaq coming up as well. I don't know what NXT has got from like an OMG point of view, but we'll see. We are at commercial break for both, by the way. We are at commercial break for both. Don't forget Sting smashing windows. That's true. Sting smashing windows. So was Darby Allin. Now we've got Scarlett with her tarot cards. Pass on his wisdom, elevate his followers. Who's she talking to? She's talking to a little skull thing. She's a weird woman. Do you think she's that weird all the time? Do you think at any point she just chills out and watches Netflix? Or do you think she's just like, look at Beth. Beth's like, I know, yeah, God, go out for a meal or something. Does that mean? Flip. Oh, maybe you can't at the moment. Maybe that's just driving her insane. But chill out, mate, honestly. Go for a walk. Walk the dog. Instead, she's like, fall and pray. Mate. Right, we got, what's this? On YouTube, we can watch Brie Larson training with Tegan Knox. Right, Cody is coming out. Here we go. It's Cody time. Tyler Rust is in the ring. Cody promo. We saw Tyler Rust, was it last week, in a losing effort against Bronson Reed. Tyler Rust versus Jobber. No idea who it is. Tyler Rust. Right, we've got Cody making his way down to the ring. We're just seeing the other week. The waiting room. Jade Cargill. Is anyone else getting vibes from Scarlett that she does witchcraft? Right. Tony's in the ring with Cody and Arn. He says, are you going to respond to Jade? Respond to Shaq. Respond to Jade. Yeah. March 7th. Revolution. Huh? Ah, is that what we were meant to get? Were we meant to get Cody and Brandy versus Jade and Shaq? Right? And he said life happens. Right. Yeah, what are you doing? He defers to Arn. Arn apparently had a go at Cody for taking Peter Avalon a bit too lightly recently. Right, so let's see what Arn's got to say. So it looks like we were meant to get Cody and Brandy in a mixed tag match. Arm says he's going to try and earn his money tonight. Wonder where this is going. I think the Hall of Fame is pointless for the likes of the Bellas and Abdullah the Butcher being in it, but there are legends like Vader that are yet to be inducted. Well, I would say because you disagree with some of the inductees, it doesn't mean that the Hall of Fame concept is wrong. I can understand you saying I don't like that person going in or this person not going in, but I think to say then that the Hall of Fame, well, is pointless. I disagree with that. I think the Hall of Fame is a good concept. And we can debate till the cows come home if the right people are going in or not. I would think Vader would go in eventually. I would hope Vader goes in eventually. Arn is talking about Dusty, and Cody's getting real emotional here. You can see Cody is welling up. Days, Chandler Bing or Chandler Bong? I'd be interested in seeing Chandler Bong. Tyler Ruster's won on NXT. This is a long promo. What was Peter Avalon modeling for? On the court, he proved he was a world-class athlete. Is there an AEW pay-per-view this weekend? No, it's March, my friend. BBB Yipsy, hope you are well. Baseball Hall of Fame, first time in a long time. No one was elected to it this year. Ah. Well, yeah, I mean, WWE had that. Oh, why, by the way? Surely there's legends that could go into it. Is it because of no fans? Right, who's he announcing down? Red Velvet. So, what? Is it going to be Red Velvet teaming with Cody? So, Cody and Red... All right, so I think we are building to a mixed tag match.
I'm out here tonight because, quite frankly, I'm fed up.
She's fed up.
I'm tired of getting attacked. I'm tired of watching Brandy get disrespected.
The concept of the Hall of Fame is great. I just don't think the order is right. Vader should have been in years ago. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I don't really worry too much about the order. I think as long as they go in eventually, does it matter? I mean, ideally, they would go in whilst they're still with us. And I think Vader absolutely should have. Right, well, Red Velvet. Right, so it looks like we are definitely building towards Red Velvet and Cody against Shaq and Jade. We've also got the wedding of Penelope and Kip at Beach Break next week. The wedding is next week. Good. Let's just get this done. This has been going far too long. Haku for the Hall of Fame. No one got the 75% of votes that are required to go into the Hall of Fame for baseball. It's about time. There's no reason to put 5 players in each year. It's been watered down. Do you know what? You could say that about wrestling. You could easily say that about wrestling. They put in about 5 each year as well. And there's not really a need for that many. Like every single year. Right? So next week we've got the wedding. Next week is that beach break, which is quite exciting. I'd forgotten that was next week for AEW. We're about 14 minutes away from the halfway point. So we're done with the Cody segment. We're now moving on to Hangman, who is making his way down. He's taking on Dolph Ziggler's brother. Hangman Page versus Ryan Nemeth. Nemeth? I wonder why they weren't interested in taking him for WWE. Right, well, there we go. When's the next UFC? It is not this weekend, the weekend after. We are just at commercial break for NXT, so you're not missing anything there. Hangman against Brother Ziggler, up and running right now. Days, do you think Shad should get the Warrior Award? Yeah, sure. Sure. He should be honoured, absolutely. Right, we've got Balor backstage. Here's Kyle O'Reilly. We saw Balor at that Superstar Spectacle the other day. It was a fun show. Fun show yesterday. We did a watch-along for it. It was decent.
J14 is a legend. They donated $1.99 via a
Big
super
chop by
chat.
Hangman.
The other figure is Masvidal. They showed new pics.
Awesome. Thanks for the update. I want to see those new pictures. That's very surprising. That's very surprising. I can't recall a Chase figure. Well, actually, do you know what? I say that. Shout and Benjamin. Do you remember when they released Shout and Benjamin? Shout and Benjamin Chase figure by Mattel. That was 2 completely different eras. The figure, though, was very similar. It was one without hair, but one with hair. One was a modern Shelton. The other was a gold standard back in the day Shelton. I can't recall too many examples where the Chase figure is of a completely different era. So I'll hold my hands up, man. I looked at that and I was trying to work out what current star it was. So, yeah, it's definitely took me by surprise. Right, we are moving on with the Dusty Classic. We've got Kushida and Leon Ruff taking on the Grizzled Young Veterans. Hangman still competing against Dolph's brother. Matt Hardy has come out. Matt Hardy going to be interested in Dolph's brother? Right, so good escape there by Ryan. So this is a quarterfinal Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on NXT. Are those new shirts and jackets and stuff? I don't know if I've seen that attire before from Grizzled Young Veterans in red. Against the ropes goes Ryan. Swivel of the hips. Net breaker on Hangman. Matt Hardy is cheering along. The proper tag team should win, but Kushida is awesome and deserves a break, says Dave in real life. Days, to put the term scary, I think it's got to be something Fiend related. Maybe it's going to be the first ever supernatural ending to a Rumble. Yeah, I mean, that is my concern, to be perfectly honest. We've got Drake in there, back elbow. Gibson, lovely spin kick. Down goes Kushida. Just a 1 count. Over on AEW, Hangman in control. 2, kick out. Days, what company do you think was better, WCW or ECW? I've not seen enough ECW to be able to comment, to tell the truth, so I don't know. I mean, obviously WCW was bigger, but, man, a lot of what they did was awful. They had some great stuff as well, like the Cruiserweights. But, yeah, I mean, it was some awful stuff in there. I might be leaning to ECW, but saying that, I mean, the NWO stuff was great. NWO was great. You got to say that they got the Goldberg stuff right. Lovely action there by Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff managed to jump to the one side, jump to the other side, slide under the legs. Haven't seen that before. So agile. Really, really good work this by Leon Ruff. Lovely double drop kick by Leon Ruff and Kushida. They're very impressive as a team. Very impressive. Hangman looks like he's going for the buckshot lariat to get the win. 8 minutes away from the halfway scores. Over the top. Boom! Gets it. Double stomp on the arm by Leon Ruff. 2, 3. And it's a win for Hangman. Hangman wins. So is Matt Hardy trying to align himself with Hangman? I don't need that. I liked Hangman with Dark Order. I thought that was interesting. Leon Ruff going up top, bounced off the middle rope, spins round, head scissor takedown, gets it. So impressive. What I really like about Leon Ruff is he is using a lot of high flying stuff, but you can definitely watch it, and it's definitely helping him out. He's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. He's not just doing it to kind of catch the eye. He's using it as a way of escaping and a way of like turning his body around to regain the momentum, and it's very good. It's very clever with how he uses it. We're going to hear from Matt Hardy now. Let's see what he's got to say. He says that he supports Hangman. Are they going to team up, do you think? Big strike by Kushida, duck underneath. Oh, look at that. Stunner. 1, 2. Oh, that should have finished the match. He just stunned him off the top. That should have finished the match. Oh, that was sick. This might be the best match I've seen so far tonight, this one on NXT right now. Matt Hardy says, I don't want anything from you. You're a good person. You deserve to be happy. We all do, guys. You do as well. I needed to say it, and you needed to hear it. Days, do you think if WWE ended the PG era, their ratings might improve? I think there's other things they need to do, to be perfectly honest. I think you can put on compelling action, build up stars. You know what I mean? In a PG era, I don't think that's. It could be an answer, but I don't think it's the answer. I mean, you can get. I mean, like honestly, more blood, more swearing, but with the current booking, it doesn't make any difference. You've got to do better stories. You've got to tell better stories. You've got to. I think what they're doing with Roman is incredible. Do you know what? Just do what they're doing on SmackDown. Look at what they're doing on SmackDown. More of that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. The Roman story is brilliant. Big E is now going alone and is IC champion. They're doing something interesting with Sami Zayn. They're doing something interesting with Billy Kay. They're obviously now pushing Nakamura. Looks like Cesaro's getting a bit of momentum. What they're doing from that show, top to bottom, is just really good stuff. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying that is how you can make it work in a PG era. So drop the PG era. It doesn't guarantee ratings. I'm not sure that's why people are staying away, to be honest. I just think that nothing feels essential. I mean, like, how many times do you tune into a show and it's like they announce there's a title match on the show? I mean, like, look at Raw. Look at Raw. Here's a prime example. Edge announcement that he's coming back at the Rumble. We didn't even know that Edge was making that announcement. Like, how was that not in 2 weeks' time? We're going to hear from Edge. Next week, don't forget, we're going to hear from Edge. Edge is going to speak for the first time since that incredible match. And, like, nothing. Tune into the show and you find out that Edge is going to speak. And then he announces for the Rumble, which I'm not too down on, but I don't know. I just think nothing feels important. Nothing seems to matter. Championship matches just don't seem to matter. So I think you've got to make things feel important, and you do that by building up stars. I've said this before, you have a massive babyface that goes on a winning streak. You have a massive heel that goes on a winning streak, and then you collide them, and it's going to feel huge. And then you promote the match like weeks in advance. Promote it, build up a babyface, build up a heel, have them collide, promote the hell out of that match. That would feel big. That would feel important. But it's just like someone wins, then they lose, then they win, then they lose. Then you probably won't see them. And then it's all like, now we've got a title match. Now we're going to do this. We didn't announce it in advance. Title match halfway through the show. It's just all... I think part of the problem, and I am going to give some credit back to WWE here, is the pandemic. I do think the pandemic has really hurt, because I think there's probably so many plans that had to change that it's like, this isn't really the right environment for planning weeks in advance, unless you're going to tape a load of shows. But then you run the risk of, obviously, the results leaking out. So, yeah, I kind of think that trying to plan in the pandemic era is difficult. But these problems were still there before the pandemic. Let's not make out everything was great and then the pandemic hit. So, but I am encouraged by SmackDown. Right, okay. Now, I don't know what's happening with this match now, because the people were saying in the chat earlier that this is meant to be an amazing match, but I thought this was live. This is going to be Dax versus Jungle Boy, and it has got crazy potential. Days, who decided to order that bootleg Dolph off Craigslist? Yeah, he really wants you to know that he is Dolph Ziggler's brother, didn't he? Right, so Cash and Tully are both going to be handcuffed to Luchasaurus. Don't forget, tomorrow I will send a tweet out, but we are doing a live Royal Rumble stream. I'll give my thoughts on it. But more than that, we're going to jump into the chat, get your thoughts, really explore some theories. It's going to be about an hour of nothing but talking about the Rumble. well, obviously everything that happens, including the undercard. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's tomorrow. I think that'll be about 7 p.m. UK time, which is about 2 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, we'll be doing that. And then later we've got a Royal Rumble watch along, which looked like it was going to be 2016, but I haven't seen Twitter, so I'm not sure where we are with that yet. I can tell you that we are at the halfway point as well, but both shows are on at the moment. We're still underway with Kushida and Leon Ruff against Grizzled Young Veterans until one show goes to a commercial break, which tends to be in about 5 minutes. Once one show goes to a break, then we will get your halftime scores. We're just seeing Cash and Tully getting handcuffed to Luchasaurus. Days, what are we streaming tomorrow? As we said, we're doing the Rumble predictions, which is going to be a big stream. I tend to talk, I tend to just get my thoughts out, get it all out there for the first 15. I'm always very aware that people might want to watch it after that can't join us live. So I like to just get a normal predictions video done at the start. So I always tend to talk for the first 15, give you my thoughts, give you my predictions. And then we spend about 45 minutes just chatting with you guys, going into the chat, getting your thoughts, getting your theories, and kind of really breaking it all down. So, yeah, I mean, I should imagine we're going to touch on everything. I should imagine we're going to talk about everything. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. And then, as you said, on Sunday, we will start at least an hour before the kickoff show, the preview show, the pre-show, whatever it's called, the buy-in. So, yes, Sunday's going to be huge. Sunday really is one of those big streams. I mean, like, when you think of the big WWE streams we do, obviously WrestleMania comes to mind, but I would say the Royal Rumble is probably the second biggest WWE stream of the year. So, if you think of all the WWE streams we do on this channel, to say that on Sunday is going to be the second biggest of the year is huge. So hopefully you guys are excited. Hopefully I'll be seeing some of you on Sunday as well and get your thoughts. So we are up and running with Dax and Jungle Boy. Days, who do you think is better, Bobby Roode or Robert Roode? Probably Bobby Roode, because wasn't he called that in Impact, and he was definitely called that down in NXT. Right, Grizzled Young Veterans have managed to get the win. So Leon Ruff and Kushida, even though they are very impressive as a team, they are out of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and honestly, I've been keeping an eye on that match, and I would say that's the best match I've seen so far tonight. Some really, really impressive action in there. Borderline could have been a takeover match, actually. Some really impressive stuff in there. I wouldn't have minded if that had been the final. Tully and Cash getting a little frustrated. They want to help out. I know, great business. Vince once said he didn't buy WCW. He bought it because of his ruthless aggression. Days, Alexa enters the Rumble as the Funhouse version and eventually becomes the Dark version. Do you think anyone can eliminate Dark Alexa? Don't care. Straight up, don't care. I don't care. Do I think anyone could eliminate her? Sure. She's tiny. She can easily get eliminated. But with this whole being possessed by the Fiend and rocking horses appearing in the ring and all this kind of stuff, the effect it has on me is it just makes me go, I'm not, this isn't for me. I am not the target audience for this. And honestly, I will be. I don't mind admitting it. I will be really upset. I will be sad if it ruins the Rumble. I will be. I won't help it. I'm not gonna rant and rave and all of that. I've done all that. I don't feel a need to keep doing that all the time. But if it ruins the Rumble, do you know what I mean? You've got people in there that have got really cool backstories. People like Bianca. I mean, everyone raving about that Chronicle documentary on her and everything that she's had to overcome. And, you know, to see her working hard, putting the work in the gym. She looks like $1 million. She's got a bright future. So she doesn't have to win it this year, but don't want to see, like, some silliness. I want to see someone get in that moment, do you know what I mean? It's a big deal to win the Rumble.
Tall Paul 2000 is a legend. They donated £2 via a super chat. Yo days, when is the next old school Raw review?
Yeah, I do have some of those old school reviews. Those old Raw reviews, I really enjoyed doing them. The problem was that I think there's a limited audience for it. I mean, each video, those videos don't make any money. So all the time I put into those videos, the channel gets nothing back for them. I was doing them as a labor of love. I ended up doing about 15, 20 of them. I've still got some that can go onto the channel. So I could easily upload another. But I'm not sure at the moment it's something I'm looking to continue with. Because, as I said, where it was a labor of love, it probably needed to get more people watching it. Like, if I'm going to do something like that, then it needs to be something that people really want to see. And I think for those people that were watching them, I think they got it and I think they were enjoying it. And that's great. That's amazing. But I don't know that it's the right way forward for the channel, if I'm being perfectly honest. So potentially there could be some more, but I'm not sure that's something I'm going to be continuing to put my focus into as a result. Right, we are at commercial break for NXT, so let's get your thoughts, halftime scores. Get your halftime scores in. 8 out of 10, says John. Brent Lannin, shout out to you, my friend, says, I think Jinder is going to shockingly win and then challenge Drew at WrestleMania. That would be interesting. That'd be very interesting. Certainly if they're making a push with the whole NXT India thing, so not a bad shout. David Paul says AEW 8. Sapphire says 6. Do you think Big Show will be at the Rumble, asks Omar. I suppose there's a chance, but we have seen quite a bit of him recently, so I don't know. If he came out, people would be like, oh, right, Big Show. It would be no more of a reaction than that. And I just feel there's probably better spots that you could, give to, like, bigger surprises. So I'm going to lean towards no. NXT 7, AEW 5, says Austin. Sonny says 8 for NXT. Dave in Real Life says NXT 7, AEW 6.5. Renee Ruff says both 8 out of 10. Future Compilation says NXT 8, AEW 7.5. Brendan says 9.7.
William Hensey is a legend. They donated $5 via a super chat. Hey Days, just saying hey, and I was not prepared for what was under your beanie. Wow, indeed. I will tell no one. Neutral face. Dare not ready.
Yeah, I know, but I sent an image to William Hensey DMs. We quite often send images back and forth. None of them can be seen by anyone other than me and William because they are out there. And one of them that I sent through was an image of what is under the beanie. So shout out to you, William Hensey. Hope you are well, my friend. Dean Winchester says 97.5 out of 10. Mark Clark says, if Goldberg wins, we riot. AJ Styles says, what's your thoughts on CZW? I think it's awful, not entertaining at all. I've not seen a great deal, to be perfectly honest. I'm aware that it pushes boundaries, let's put it that way. A lot of hardcore kind of wrestling stuff on there. And from the clips that I've seen, it's not for me. So, yeah. But I mean, there's an audience for it. Or there was an audience for it. I do feel sorry in a way for that kind of ECW crowd that kind of wants that edgier, blood, weapons. You know what I mean? Just like two people really just wanting to rip each other apart. I do feel sorry for that. I don't even know if that crowd really exists anymore. I mean, I'd imagine it does, but so I think CZW catered to a market. But yeah, it was never really for me. NXT 7, AEW 5 says Austin. Troy says NXT 6. Rafi says NXT 2, AEW 0. Wrestling Days fan says NXT 7. High Flyer says 7 for NXT tonight. Adrian says AEW 5. Damien says NXT about 6, AEW 7.5. Heather says AEW 6.75, but I am curious if they're going to follow up with Ryan Nemeth or Nemeth. Oh, hello, we've got William Regal in the locker room here. Has Luch House Party been attacked? So, William Regal having a go at Legado del Fantasma. Should they look scared of William Regal? Card. We've got Dax face-to-face with Jungle Boy. Forearm strikes by Jungle Boy. Uppercut by Jungle Boy. Kick, but caught by Dax. Forearm strike. Got Jungle Boy on his feet. Duck underneath. Round the back. Dax reverses. German, but Jungle Boy tries to land on his feet. He does fall down, but that's a nice kick. Tony Storm is in the ring right now. This is a very good match on AEW. I like heel Tony Storm as well, by the way. I like heel Tony Storm. She looks good. She looks good with the bigger hair as well. Nice head scissors, Hurricanrana thing. I was sad that Dain and Maverick got eliminated. Cross teasing Santos. Yeah, this is very good on AEW between Dax and Jungle Boy. I'm definitely scared of William Regal. He's cool, isn't he? He might be the best ever GM. Just an incredible GM. Tony Storm says she wants to take the women's championship away from Io Shirai. Lights have gone out. Boo. I do love her entrance music. Io making her way down. Lovely work by Jungle Boy. Big clothesline. Down goes Dax. Picking him up. Oh, I couldn't quite get him over. Duck underneath. They're both swinging away at each other. Into a DDT by Dax. Two count for Dax. Tony Storm takes down Io Shirai. Those two are feuding at the moment. Io was seen taken out. Was it Mercedes Martinez? So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the women's drop kick. Tony goes down, out the ring. Stumbles on the outside. Jungle Boy is up top. Here's Mercedes Martinez with Io. Is that going to be a triple threat, do you think? Tony versus Mercedes versus Io. Lovely roll through by Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy going over. He tries to roll through, but Dax just manages to get the pin. He does reverse it. Kick out by Dax. Duck underneath. Crucifix. Looking for a crucifix pin. Gets it. 2. Just a 2. Reversed by Dax. This is really good. This is really good on AEW. Easily the best thing they've had on their show tonight. Lovely. Bridging out. Looking for a backslide. They're both struggling away here. Knee to the midsection by Dax. He's got Jungle Boy up against the ropes. And he does manage to roll it. No, just a 2. Against the ropes. 2. Oh. Lovely. Look at this by Jungle Boy. Submission hold, middle of the ring. Cash and Tully are desperately trying to help out. Oh! And he makes him tap. Jungle Boy makes Dax tap. Jungle Boy wins. Jungle Boy beats Dax in a very fun match. Lots of reversals. Lots of pin attempts. Lots of close falls. Some nice moments in there. Back and forth. Didn't know who was going to get it. Jungle Boy wins. Yep. What's your thoughts on Tajiri? I think he's underrated. I like Tajiri. Saw him in the, is it the Cruiserweight Classic a few years back? That was good. He's a lot of fun. Right, obviously they are now free of Luchasaurus. They've managed to, I think Tully threw like salt or something in his eyes, powder in his eyes. Now we've got FTR double teaming on Jungle Boy. Now they're... Oh, look! Tully on the middle rope. Spike pile driver to Luchasaurus. Tell you what, I kind of think both shows were all right for the first part. I think both shows just had their biggest moments. I think that Jungle Boy and Dax was a really good match. I do think that Kushida and Leon Ruff was excellent as well against Grizzled Young Veterans. Luchasaurus is... they've cut the horns off of his mask. He's handcuffed to the ropes. They could have done more than that, couldn't they? Why didn't they cut his hair or cut his beard? They're trying to cut the hair of Jungle Boy now. Marco Stunt comes down with a chair. He's got a bit of help with him as well. Commercial break for NXT. We've got about 40 minutes to go. Two guys handcuffed to Luchasaurus and they can't beat him up. Do you think WrestleMania in the UK would be awesome? Of course. Of course it would. I mean, you obviously can't do that with the pandemic and everything at the moment. So hopefully we do get it one day, though. I think most people would agree that the UK audience is one of the more passionate audiences. So, yeah, it would be awesome. Right, both shows are at commercial break right now. It's been a while since we had a moment to sit here and just talk. Jade Rodriguez says, do you think AEW will create a cruiserweight or women's tag? Maybe eventually, but I don't think they've got that in mind at the moment. Wasn't there talk? Didn't Tony talk about 6-man tag belts? I feel like they might be the next ones to come. they've already got a lot of belts, in fairness, with like the FTW, the TNT, obviously the AEW tag, the women's. So they've already got a fair few. Maybe a mid-card women's belt wouldn't be the worst. No one's got a mid-card women's belt, have they? Mid-card women's belt could be kind of cool. Shock value, that's what you have to do if you are the boss of a massive promotion. I would love to have WrestleMania in Asia one day. I would as well. I would. I think WWE is a global brand. I do appreciate that vast majority of their views come from North America. But I think, I was saying this the other day during that Superstar Spectacle, I loved the flavor of that. Like, there was a dance moment in there, and it was a real celebration of, like, Indian culture. And it gave it such a different vibe. I loved it. I would love to see them continue to put on shows around the world. Right, we've got Imperium. Is Volta coming? Everything changed. We were isolated. Yeah, Volta's ruled. We have held NXT tag titles. I like this. My arrival is only the beginning. Is Volta coming? Imperium. That was good, man. That was good. They do those video packages so well. So well, don't they? Volta's a game changer. There's a lot of big guys around. Your Bronson Reeds, your Lance Archers, your Brian Cages. There's a lot of big guys. No one is on the level of Volta. I mean, maybe with the exception of Brock Lesnar, but I mean, we are talking those levels. Volta is special. He feels special. Right, we're outside with the merch area. Powerhouse Hobbs. Look at this. They're wrecking the merch area. Brian Cage ripping up the Sting shirts. Right, well, they're wrecking into the side of the van. Right, Swerve. Little, so on AEW right now, we just got some promotion, a bit of build for that match. Swerve versus Bronson Reed. Right, Britt Baker. We know she's going to be taking on Thunder Rosa very soon. Don't know who she is facing. Right, Bronson Reed's coming down. He hasn't got the cuddly toy around his shoulders this week, which I think I wasn't a big fan of. Jake the Fake Roberts. Right, Britt Baker is here with Reba. After the Bell with Corey Graves, special guest Goldberg. Oh, I'm sure millions are going to be tuning into that one. Goldberg is going to be sitting down and talking to Corey Graves. Who do you think the Iron Man of the Rumble should be? Well, maybe Cesaro and Bianca. would be the first two names that come to mind. I think Volta could beat Brock Lesnar. Hey, I'd love Volta being in the Rumble. Could you imagine if they've managed to get Alexander Wolf over? What if they get Volta over? If he's in it, he wins it. If he's in it, he wins it. They have got something so special with Volta. He is so credible. He just keeps having these incredible matches as well. Like, people were buzzing about his match with A-Kid, and people were buzzing especially about his match with Dragunov. He's got one of the longest reigning title reigns. Well, I think it is the longest reigning in WWE right now. But, yeah, just incredible. Right, we are underway with Britt
Casey
Baker
is Raw
against
is a legend.
Shanna.
They donated $2 via a
Casey
super
is Raw.
chat. The Joe Cronin monetize this world champ is here.
Casey is Raw. Shout out to you, my friend. I hope you are well. So we are, how long have we got? We've got 34 minutes. We've got Bronson Reed taking on Isaiah Swerve. Suicide dive by Bronson Reed. Straight through the ropes. Isaiah Swerve couldn't get out of the way of that. He couldn't swerve out the way of that. And over on AEW, we got Shanna taking on Britt Baker. NXT has just gone to commercial break. So we might as well have a look at AEW as Britt Baker drives
Jonathan Wilberdon
Shanna
is a legend. They
into the
donated
corner.
$5 via a super chat. Days, does Bronson Reed ever remind you of the bearded lady at the circus?
Do you know what? I can definitely see that, and I don't know why. Why does that make sense? Why does that comment actually make sense? I can see what you're saying. I don't know, man. I don't know what he needs. He's got a great entrance. Him walking through those buildings like King Kong or Godzilla looks awesome. I don't know. I can't tell what's quite missing, but something is definitely missing. His video package makes him look like a monster. I don't know. Does he need to get a bit more jacked? Is it because he's small? I don't think he's very tall, is he? So they're presenting him as this monster. But I think he's on the shorter side. Look at Reba giggling her head off. I don't know. Maybe if he was like jacked or something, maybe that would make a difference. But it's not as if he like towers over people, do you know what I mean? Like Volta tends to. Or Lesnar can. Sling Blade by Britt Baker outside the ring. I do love Reba's giggle. I think is really adds to this duo. I love these two together. I think she's been a brilliant addition, bringing Reba in. Britt jumping out of the ring and hurls Shanna into the ring. Sean says, Days, I think a big problem with WWE today is they don't embrace their talent that naturally and organically get over with the fans. If WWE doesn't manufacture it, they squash it. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. But I do think that they are trying to do that more with SmackDown. I mean, if you look at SmackDown, like, I think people want to see Nakamura get an opportunity. I think people definitely want to see Cesaro get an opportunity. I love Billie Kay and her resume. So definitely down for seeing her getting some opportunity. I mean, they've always said, haven't they, that SmackDown is the land of opportunity, and I do think it's living up to that. Great to see Kevin Owens back in the main event. Even if he's not going to win the title, at least he's in that big program feuding with Roman, you know? So, I mean, just think, for so long we weren't seeing him, and then when we did, he'd just be on a Kevin Owens show, not really doing anything. So seeing him like being right up at the top of the card, that's been good as well. So I think there's so much positive stuff going on with SmackDown. I am pleased that like people seem to be really enjoying the show, because I do think it's a sign of a way forward. Knee strikes coming in by Britt Baker. Days, a problem is they're not building up the young stars and giving these young stars titles. Well, I mean, I just think there's so many people that deserve titles. There's only so many titles to go around. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, surely Cesaro deserves an opportunity. Surely Big E deserves an opportunity. Heel Roman is absolutely the right person to be at the top of the card. So then you'd look at it and go, well, how do you get them belts onto other people? I think, honestly, I don't think that titles should necessarily be the only thing that signifies success. I think WWE would do well to try and find other ways of making their young up-and-coming talent feel successful. If you think about New Japan, they've got things like the G1, and they've got things like, you know, the tag tournament, and they've got things like Best of the Super Juniors, and, you know, there's a few different ways where someone can be successful but not have a championship. And I think maybe WWE would benefit from that. You know, if there was like I don't know why we've not had King of the Ring in a while. King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring. I mean, that would be a really good way to award or reward a young talent. You know, Bianca Belair in the final of Queen of the Ring against Charlotte. Belair wins it. Awesome. I think that there's got to be more ways that you can celebrate success than just belts. I mean, even AEW has kind of experimented with the ring. You know, that MJF has won a couple of times. Clothesline by Shanna. We've got 28 minutes left. John Morrison should win the WWE Championship. Tall Paul says they can't even make their champs seem successful. I think they're doing it with Roman. Roman feels like a mafia don at the moment. So I know I keep banging on about how great SmackDown is, right? But I do think that what they're doing with Roman is right. I don't want to see him lose that title anytime soon, to be perfectly honest. I think having him being the man, pulling the strings and overcoming like all opponents, it's just going to mean so much more when someone does beat him. And I don't think that needs to happen just yet. It'll probably be at WrestleMania in all fairness, but I wouldn't. 1, 2. Oh, kick out by Shanna. So, yeah, I wouldn't have someone beat Roman yet. Drew, I think, has done all right, but I think where the title kind of left him for a little bit and then went back to him, I think that was a shame. In retrospect, I wish they hadn't have done that. Right, here we go. Oh, Britt was going for a finishing move, but Shanna reversed. They only got a 2 count, though. Oh, look at that stunner. Shanna over on NXT was still underway with this match. Basement dropkick by Shanna. Do you think at some point we're going to see Thunder Rosa? Reba trying to provide a distraction. Britt Baker trying to roll up. Shanna getting into that hold. Here we go. She's got nowhere to go. And Britt Baker with the glove on. And that's it. She gets the win. Bronson Reed, 2, 3. That, tell you what, that's a good win for Bronson Reed. Good win over Isaiah Swerve. I do see both those guys at being at the same level, actually. So that's a good win for Bronson Reed. He does need to go on and start just getting wins, though. Do you know what I mean? Bronson Reed is someone that needs victories. He's got to go. He's got to get wins over the likes of Gargano and Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa. And, you know, you've got to get some momentum. That is the word, isn't it? A lot of these people just don't have momentum. Britt Baker is stomping away on Shanna. Reba's like, yeah! She's loving it. She's going back. And Thunder Rosa comes out. Wow, she looks great. Thunder Rosa looks awesome. Thunder jumps out the ring, goes chasing Britt Baker to the back. This is like casual Rosa. She's got like tracksuit bottoms on, black top, little denim jacket. She looks great. Love Thunder Rosa. She had a proper MMA fight as well, so she has done a lot of training in like MMA. Shows in her matches. She's really hard hitting in her matches. Her against Britt Baker should be a lot of fun. Right, we've got MJF with Sammy. We've got Timothy Thatcher with Tommaso Ciampa. Those two look like brothers, don't they? Days, I'm considering cheering for Goldberg at the Rumble. Go for it. I think I do think that Goldberg does serve a purpose. I think he is a legend. I think he's got a big name, and I think if you beat him, it means something. I know that it might not mean anything to a lot of people in the chat right now, but around the world, he is a known name. He is a legend. If someone like Drew McIntyre gets a win over him, it matters. It means something. So I do think there is a purpose to Goldberg. I felt the exact same way when he faced The Fiend. I just thought The Fiend should have won that match. And again, you know, that would have been a nice name for The Fiend to have beaten. And I think a lot of the issue with Goldberg comes from there. That's, well, one example. But yeah, I mean, if he puts over Drew, then great. Maybe he beats Drew and Drew gets it back at WrestleMania. I mean, that you do have to think that could be a possibility. The rumors are that Goldberg is going to have a match at Mania this year. We are at commercial break for NXT. Over on AEW, they're talking about the Women's World Championship Tournament. Serena Deeb is going to be taking on Riho. So Rio is back. We haven't seen Rio in forever. Up next, Young Bucks and Good Brothers taking on the Dark Order. I feel like we're at main event time, aren't we? We've got to be main event time. Goldberg is an overachiever. He's not a legend. I have to disagree. I think his achievements warrant him being a legend. I think that undefeated streak makes him a legend. You know, I mean, like, he's someone that, you know, was one of the biggest names in WCW. Granted, he came over to WWE and it didn't work out and he ended up leaving. But then, you know, they brought him back and he ended up beating Brock in that shock moment at Survivor Series. And no denying he's a big name that's known around the world, and that undefeated streak in WCW in particular, he is a legend. He is a legend. He's not. I mean, make no mistake about it. I do not want to see him beating the main roster and beating everyone. Like ideally, he loses to Drew at the Rumble. That's it. Ideally, he loses to Drew, and it's a nice name for Drew to beat. But I don't know. You don't know. You kind of have to be prepared for anything with WWE, and that is never been more true than it is at the moment. Young Bucks and Good Brothers taking on Dark Order. Maybe they'll do is have Brock show up during Drew Goldberg. What you think they'll have? They'll have Brock turn up during Drew Goldberg, and then we get Brock Goldberg at WrestleMania. I don't know that really helps anyone, to be honest. I'm not excited for Goldberg Brock. I feel like Brock at this stage could really put someone over at WrestleMania. Goldberg as well. So I think putting them together, I think I'd much rather see. I'd much rather see Volta versus Brock. If we could make that happen, that'd be incredible. In fact, there's probably a lot of stars. Aleister Black against Brock, or I don't know. You could do quite a few matchups. But although I suppose in a way both of them did put people over at last year's WrestleMania. Brock obviously lost to Drew. Goldberg lost to Braun. But at this stage, that's really what they're there for. So yeah, I think I'd rather see them do that again than go against each other. Right, we're coming back from commercial break for both shows. We've got less than 20 minutes to go. Less than 20 minutes to go. Don't forget, tomorrow we are going to be doing a Royal Rumble prediction stream and a Royal Rumble watch-along. So we've got all that tomorrow. We've got Good Brothers and Young Bucks, Impact Champions and AEW Champions together backstage. They're about to compete against the Dark Order. So I believe this is our main event for AEW. Over on NXT, we're about to go to the main event there. And it is going to be, of course, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly taking on Lorcan and Burch. Dun, 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 dun. Cesaro liked my tweet, says Wrestling Days fam. Well, hopefully then it was a positive one. I'd love to see him do a good job in the Rumble. Maybe even win it. Braun is getting pumped up. Peak WCW Youngberg was amazing. Well, I was never really into WCW. I was team WWE. So it wasn't a show that I watched all that much. We've got Omega and Don getting in the face of the Bucks here. Bit of dissension. We've got a bit of dissension. Don selling his... I really like Don. Don's been a great addition to AEW as well. Right, the Bucks coming out. They've got their Too Sweet t-shirts on. Balor and O'Reilly face-to-face in the ring, talking, trying to get onto the same page. Of course, they're going to be partners tonight. Kyle knew Undisputed Era was so bad, he had to team with Balor instead. Hayden the Gamer, shout out to you. Team WWE all the way. This is as close as we're going to get to Balor versus Kyle 3. Well, we saw... Didn't they get out the car earlier? Pete Dunne was driving. You've got to think that Pete Dunne's going to make his presence felt. Good Brothers on the way out. Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions. How long we got? 16 minutes, and we've probably got another commercial break to go to until the end. There could be an overrun, but I don't see a need for an overrun. In 2017, Goldberg shouldn't have beaten Owens. It made no logical sense. Kevin Owens versus Jericho should have been the Universal Championship match. Brock could have got his win back without the belt. Yeah. Don't disagree. Renee, shout out to you. I think both of these shows have been fine, but I don't think either show has been spectacular. I think that both shows have had one incredible match. Nothing offensive. Nothing that, do you know what I mean? Like, both shows I think have been absolutely fine. But yeah, I think if you were gonna, for whatever reason, skip a week, would this have been the worst week to have skipped? Certainly don't want to skip next week with Beach Break for AEW. That looks like a very, very exciting card. Kyle O'Reilly working on the arm of Danny Burch. If you could pick someone from NXT to win the Rumble, who would you pick? Am I allowed to pick Volta? If I can't pick Volta, then I would go with... It's a good question. Maybe Carrion could be an interesting... Trying to think who would look good at WrestleMania. And you got to say, Carrion with his entrance and his look would look good at WrestleMania. I mean, obviously, Balor as well would be great at Mania. Yeah, it was great seeing Balor in the Thunderdome for Superstar Spectacle. So, I feel like Balor or Karrion Kross would be good. Right, we are starting off John Silver with Gallows. Adam Cole. Adam Cole would be good. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think the Ruthless Aggression is better than Attitude. I did love Attitude, but Ruthless Aggression was better for me. That's fine. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that have said that. So you're not alone. I would say you probably are in the minority, but you're not alone. There's a lot about the Attitude Era I didn't like. But there's no denying its impact on wrestling. Raker the back by Matt Jackson. Kyle O'Reilly is still working on the arm of Danny Burch, and he tags in Finn Balor. It looks like a good card for Beach Break next week. Yes. Very excited about Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa. Nice drop kick there by Alex Reynolds, is it? I'm working next week, so I'm going to miss NXT AEW. That sucks. I've seen a lot of people say they like Ruthless Aggression more than Attitude. I do think Ruthless Aggression has got a lot of respect. I think, you know, obviously Brock coming through and probably more the OVW guys like Batista and Cena and... you know, that kind of group, Orton, coming through at the same time, and Evolution, and it was definitely a changing of the guard. It was good. There was some really good stuff that was going on in the Ruthless Aggression era. Right, NXT is at commercial break, and Young Bucks and Good Brothers doing a really good job at the moment. What do you think of an Aleister Black re-debut? Yeah, we are going to touch on that tomorrow, because I do think there is a chance at the Rumble. The only thing I would say is there's a lot that, like, I think could happen at the Rumble, but not everything can. Because they've already announced, what is it, 15, 20 people? So there's only 10 spots. And we're probably going to get some more announced on SmackDown. So, you know, we're probably looking at about 5 spots. I reckon I've got about 12 things that could happen. And if I really thought about it or had a chat with you guys, I'm sure we could double that easy. So it's like, you know, Aleister Black being one, John Cena coming back would be one, Lesnar coming back would be one, Fiend coming back would be one. Like, NXT, we haven't even spoke about NXT. Any NXT people being in the Rumble. There's normally a healthy amount of NXT. I don't think there's going to be this year, for whatever reason. Seemingly, there's bound to be some, though. There's got to be some. I can't believe they're going to do Rumbles without any NXT talent. More so for the guys. I think for the women, you're bound to get a few. But for the guys, there's got to be at least one or two. But yeah, when you sit down and you kind of go through it, like Seth's coming back as well. You're like, wow, they can't do everything. Like, where's Andrade as well? I haven't seen Andrade in like forever. And Lars Sullivan. Big splash. 10 minutes to go. Is WWE going to induct Hall of Famers this year? Or the same from last year? They're doing last year's apparently. So no new inductees this year is the word on the street. Aggression Era is better than Attitude Era because of Cena and Orton making their debuts and the Evolution group. Balor in, back elbow. Yeah, we're still up and running here. This is a big match for the Dark Order. Taking on both the Impact and AEW champions. This is a big, big match for them. I'm rooting for the Dark Order. They are so over with me. I wasn't watching Being the Elite, but obviously I've seen quite a few clips of what they'd been doing, like with Brody passing, and Silver is hilarious. But I think they've got, because of like the Brody thing, a lot of goodwill going for them at the moment. Kind of feel that at Revolution, they should get those tag titles. Could you imagine at Revolution, they get the tag belts, the Dark Order, and like, do you know what I mean? Kind of looking up to the heavens and this is for you kind of a moment. It feels like that should be where we go. I don't know if it'll interrupt with stuff. I mean, it could be that someone costs the Young Bucks if you don't want to make it clean, but kind of feel like that would make sense. Riddle me this. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? Slapjack's going to win, says Sapphire. Ruthless Aggression was better for matches, but Attitude Era was better for moments, says Brother Nero. Jerry Jack says Charlotte bedded Andrade and put her figure 8 on him, and he's not been out of bed since. Breaking news. I know you're not a fan of Tessa, but my prediction is that she will be in the Rumble and get eliminated by Charlotte. It's not that I'm not a fan. There was just so many people that spoke out against her. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard thing to overlook. Some multi-man work on the outside. Young Bucks and Good Brothers, though, get thrown into the barricade. Knee strike by Nick Jackson. And goes for a kick on Stu Grayson. Kick up. Nice. Oh, Pele kick, and it was done really well. That was done really well. That was really good. Silver, desperate for the tag. That was a lovely Pele kick. Big clothesline. Couple of clotheslines. Silver's got Nick Jackson against the rope. Big back body drop. It's on fire. We're into the final 5. Nick Jackson holds on. He throws Silver to the outside. Back elbow to Silver. Top rope Inzaguri. Silver. Cannonball to the outside. Uppercut to Gallows. Big boot. He's taking them all out on his own. Back into the ring. Backslide, roll through, low kick, lovely strikes. Look at the kicks. Silver, you little dynamo. 1, 2. Ah. He's like a one-man Rambo. They should call him Rambo. Silver Bow. Jumbo. He should be Jumbo. Jumbo Silver. That was good. Lovely net breaker by Evil Uno. Right, we're still underway with this tag match on NXT. Days, what if Charlotte enters and wins the Men's Rumble to one-up her dad. Well, her dad has won it. Lovely. Double Northern against the ropes. Goes Matt Jackson underneath. Comes crashing down. Balor into the corner on NXT. Kicks out. Back elbow. Sling blade. Down goes Oney. Kyle is desperate for the tag right now. Balor is desperately trying to make it. He jumps and he does make it, but Danny Burch is tagged in as well. Big boot by Kyle O'Reilly. Another quick strike. Another strike. Knee strike to the midsection. He's on fire now. Kyle O'Reilly has gone full on John Silver. Kyle O'Reilly proper fired up. O'Reilly charges over. Forearm strike. Working on the arm. Who remembers that live thing that Edge and Lita did? I think everyone remembers it. Big kick by Oney. Oh, he went for a drop kick, missile drop kick, but he's managed to get him in the heel hook. Wow. Finn and Kyle win. It's a victory for Finn and Kyle. Balor gonna turn or... Oh no, well, it's not really a turn, is it? We all know he's out for himself. So there we go. Balor and O'Reilly face to face. Nod of respect and recognition. Hello? Pete Dunne has stepped into the ring. Kyle O'Reilly just helped. Kyle O'Reilly just helped. He just pointed. And Pete Dunne was behind. And now he's charging in and trying to beat up Pete Dunne. It's 2-on-3. Young Bucks and Good Brothers have won over on AEW. Where's the rest of the Undisputed Era? There's a whole era that can come down to help them out. Where's the rest of the era? Tag Team Battle Royal next week at Beach Break. I'd like Dark Order to win that. Joint manipulation by Pete Dunne. Who's coming down? Pete Dunne breaks the fingers of Finn Balor. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong have come down. There's a vulnerable Balor in the ring. That's a group though, isn't it? Undisputed Era 2.0. Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Finn Balor. Look at that group right there. Look at that group. Woo! Ammo Club. The Ammo Army. Look, and he falls in line. Look at this. He turns to one side. There's Kyle. Turns the other side. There's Adam Cole. Omega has come into the ring. Moxley's in there. Both shows ending with a strong finish. Moxley came down, dealt with Kenny. Kenny is sleeping right now. And that's it for NXT. So NXT is done. We are done with NXT. We're still live with AEW, but we'll be done with that in a sec as well. Boom! There we go. And that comes to a finish also. Right, get your scores in. What did you think of both shows this week? Undisputed Club. 8 out of 10 for both, says the Nico guy. Finn is undisputed. Did Finn join Undisputed? I don't think he officially joined, but if there was to be a match announced in the future where he was going to be teaming with them, I wouldn't be surprised. Put that group in the main event of Survivor Series. NXT 7.5. The Balor Boys sounds like a K-pop group. It does. Maybe we could form a group and make 2K and WWE and do Ruthless Aggression. That sounds like a lot of work, Hayden. Are you going to watch the new show Resident Alien? I've not heard of it. Do I like sci-fi? Sci-fi's all right. Sci-fi's all right. I don't go like crazy for it. It'd have to be, I think I like sci-fi if it's like a really interesting idea that gets explored. So, you know, like things like The Martian. I mean, we've never been to Mars, but that's like a really interesting film of what could happen if we did, which I think is kind of cool. And then like Total Recall, that's out there, but I did like that kid as a film, that film as a kid. So, yeah, I suppose in a way I do. But it's weird because I don't really watch a great deal of it. I think there's a lot of bad stuff that's out there, isn't there? There's a lot of rubbish, so I suppose it's the same for everything. Brendan says 9.5. Sean says 8.5 for NXT. Austin says NXT 7.5, AEW 6. David Paul says AEW 9.5. It set it up for next week. Brony says NXT 7.5. Wrestling Days fan says NXT 7.25. Dave in Real Life says NXT 8, AEW 7.5. High Flyer says NXT 7. Heather says AEW 7.25 because of the ending. Hayden says NXT 9, AEW 7. Trey Gaming says NXT 7.35, AEW 5.25. Troy says NXT 7.5. Shakeem gives AEW 6, NXT 6. Jason says NXT 7. David Robert Wood says NXT 7.25, AEW 7. Crazy Cheech says both endings were better than the starts. AEW 7.8, NXT 6. Matt Dua says AEW 9, NXT 8.75. John says NXT 8.75 because Kyle carried Finn. Both shows 8. Austin, NXT 7.5, AEW 6. Tyler, see you tomorrow, my friend. High Flyer says AEW gets 6 Shaqs out of 10. Mary says NXT 9, AEW 8. Quite a lot of like scores, like all over the place, really. I think this is tricky because I think the NXT matches had more purpose because of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. So those matches like meant a bit more because it's all part of a tournament. I do agree that this week's AEW did a lot to set up next week, but I think the payoff will be next week. I think both shows were quite comparable. I think both shows had all right main events. I think both shows had one killer match. And then it just comes down to like fine detail, really. So I think that NXT might have just picked AEW, but there's not much in it. And I definitely think AEW is winning next week because of that beach break. It's a good-looking card. So I think AEW, I agree. AEW used this week to set up next week. As a result, it's a very solid but unspectacular show. I'll go 7.5. I'm feeling generous. I'll go 7-5 because that Dax match against Jungle Boy was very, very good. You see, actually, when I'm thinking about it, I don't know if there was. I don't want to go 7-7-5 for NXT. I'm gonna say it's the same. I mean, like, honestly, I could go. There we go. I'll go 7-5-5. If someone was to say what was the better show and they had a gun to my head, I'd be like, NXT just. And the only difference is because their matches had a bit more of a purpose because of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And we've got, obviously, a lot of that happening at the moment. So I'll say NXT was just better, but not much in it. Really not much in it. To the point where I don't want to go 7-7-5. So, yeah, just two solid shows. But AEW definitely setting up for a big week next week. We've obviously got a big day tomorrow as well, as we said. We got our Royal Rumble prediction stream. Really looking forward to that because I'm going to spend a bit of time like doing some real research, seeing what the rumors are. Really trying to find out, what's the latest news, what's the speculation, what are the rumors, what's some of the out there theories. Just chuck it all into this one video. So if you can join us live for that, join us live. If not, then I'll talk for like the first 15 minutes and just get all like, my thoughts out, all that kind of stuff. A normal predictions video kind of a thing, but the next 45, I mean, the whole thing will run for probably about an hour. I mean, if it goes over, it goes over. But, yeah, we'll just try and chuck as much into it as we can. I suppose that's the advantage of just waiting a few days. Normally I do it on a Tuesday or today, but I think it's worth waiting on this one. So we'll do that. And also we're going to do a watch-along. Will I be able to tell you right now what that watch-along is? Let's have a look and see. Because I know there was only a few hours to go, and so it could be done. It is done. And quite a hearty winner in the end. There was no late swing. So I can tell you that tomorrow we will be watching Royal Rumble 2016. The debut of AJ Styles. And more than that, the very first video on this channel is all about the prediction for Royal Rumble 2016. So my first few videos are all about this show. So it's kind of nice in a way that we can watch that. There probably were better options, but it will be nice to watch that and kind of think about the start of the channel. And I might even revisit some of my early videos. See who I was predicting. I've got a feeling I predicted Dolph Ziggler or something. Certainly don't remember expecting AJ to show up. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. So we got that tomorrow. And we got the prediction stream as well. Hayden the Gamer, shout out to you. AEW are claiming fraud. And they've declared themselves 7555. They are allowed to do that. I will allow that. I do think that the difference was as simple as they have set up next week, whereas NXT has given us like some Dusty Cup matches, which, in a way is setting for the future as well, but maybe just means a little bit more. But no denying, I think the best match we had today might have been the Jungle Boy one. But that Leon Ruff, Kushida, Grizzled Young Veterans match ran it very, very close. That might even have been a tie. Because that Leon Ruff, Kushida, Grizzled Young Veterans match, that could have been takeover quality. And in all fairness, the Dax Jungle Boy could have been Revolution quality. So we definitely got two very special matches there. Definitely got two special matches. Dolph Ziggler mentioned AEW on Instagram. I think the best year of my life was the year before I was born, says Unbroken 1010. Heather said I voted 97. I do think there was a lot of good options, but there's a lot of rumbles. I mean, we've never watched 92, and it's an absolute classic. 97 is great. 06 is regarded as one of the best because that's the year that Rey Mysterio wins. It's kind of like the underdog story and everything. I mean, I can say that now that we're not watching it. So 96 was a really good option as well. I can understand 2016 winning, so I'd imagine there's a lot of youngsters that want to watch superstars that they know. So I can understand it winning. But yeah, I mean, that's the great thing with the Rumble. There's been a lot of good ones, and hopefully Sunday will be as well. So, right, my friends, with that, we are done. Thank you so much to everyone that joined us this evening. It was a pretty solid Wednesday night, but obviously the focus at the moment is maybe elsewhere with the Rumble this weekend, as we keep mentioning. Make sure that you are joining us for that. It should be a lot of fun. Have a great evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.